All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to our Krampus Nacht read of Krampus. And tonight we will be reading a wonderful dark holiday movie and a bunch of wonderful dark people doing it. And let's go ahead and get started with our intros.
Hello, I'm Mary. I'll be doing action description.
Hi, I'm Anne. I'll be Sarah.
I'm Eric. I'll be Tom.
Hello, I'm George. I'll be Howard.
Wait, Santa's in this?
No.
I'm Angie and I'll be Linda.
I'm Logan. I'll be Max.
And I'm Travis and I'm playing Aunt Dorothy.
Oh boy.
And I'm Chelsea and I will be Omi.
All right, let's go. Krampus, written by Todd Casey, Michael Doherty, and Zach Shields. Scrolling. Darkness, bathed by a frigid, howling wind, building like a choir of screams as we fade in. Interior, a child's bedroom night. A clock ticks, tick, tick. A Christmas candle flickers. The wind moans outside as we drift past a child's desk. Textbooks and toys, gadgets and clothes, and then an envelope crudely addressed to the North Pole. Next to that, an unfinished letter that so far only reads, "Dear Santa." We then float to a reindeer costume draped on a bed occupied by a sleeping Max Engel, 12 years old. Tousled hair, mouth agape, even while asleep, Max evokes a mix of wide-eyed innocence and adolescent mischief. All is calm. All is bright. Until the roof creaks. The faint yet deep sound of wood beams straining. Max stirs but doesn't awaken. But then it happens again, louder and louder. Max's eyes pop open. He sits up, curiously listening to the ticking clock in the eerie silence. And then, whoop, skitter, skitter. What sounds like footsteps on the roof? Could it be? Max looks at an advent calendar on his wall. Its tiny door open to December 22nd. Confused, he nervously walks to the window and opens the curtains to find nothing. Just darkness and trickling snow. Looking up at the sky, Max's face is tinged with disappointment when, wham! A huge figure slams into his window. Max stumbles back, a shadow falling over him as he gawks in horror at a creepy plastic Santa decoration. Dangling upside down and tangled in flickering Christmas lights, Saint Nick slowly swings back and forth, dead eyes staring into our souls. Annoyed and creeped out, Max sighs as we pull out from his window and up into the night sky, rising high above the neighborhood, until we're soaring over a festively decorated small town. A snowstorm fills the air while a children's choir warms up our hearts. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas everywhere you go. Take a look in the 5 and 10, glistening once again, with candy canes and silver lanes aglow. Credits and music roll as the town strangely begins tilting to one side, toppling end over end as we realize we're actually inside of a snow globe, which keeps tumbling through the air until it shatters on a shower of glass and miniature homes that are crushed under the rampaging feet of frenzied holiday shoppers. Interior Megamart night. Mobs of bargain hunters rampage through a sprawling warehouse Megamart in extreme slow motion.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Toys in every store.
But the
prettiest sight to see is the holly that will be on your front door.
Credits and music continue over a montage of shoppers fighting to the death to save a few bucks. A frenzied mother knocks over an old lady to grab discounted cell phones. Two husbands fist fight over video games or tasered by security guards as their mortified wives watch. Screaming kids on the lap of a drunk mall Santa while their waspy parents yell at them to stop crying. Frazzled minimum wagers and an elderly Salvation Army bell ringer nearly mowed down by shopping carts, a toddler nursing a black eye, all of the holiday insanity we see on the news every December, but close up and in horrifying detail. Finally, under the store's massive fake Christmas tree, a chorus of kids dressed in homemade holiday costumes, snowmen, elves, and sugar plum fairies. But most of the kids aren't singing because they're cheering at Max, now dressed as a reindeer, but poor Max is sprawled on his back, shielding himself as he's pummeled by a brawny kid dressed as a shepherd. Teachers rush to pull them apart while the audience, Tom and Sarah Engel, 30s, Max upscale, uptight parents trying to force their way through the horrified crowd, while Max's older sister, Beth, 15 years old, gleefully records the pint-sized brawl on her phone. Credits end as the choir closes with the parting words.
Soon the bells will start,
And the thing
and
that
the thing
will
that will make them ring is the carol that you sing right within your heart.
Fade out. Fade in.
I am here tonight to warn you that I have yet a chance and hope of escaping my fate. You will be haunted by 3 spirits.
Interior dining room night, pull out as a Christmas carol plays on a small TV, continuing out past trays of fresh baked cookies until we settle on an old woman's hands kneading dough. Omi, pronounced O-me, German for grandma, a silver-haired old woman wrinkled by 7 decades of smiling. She's baking sugar cookies from scratch, enjoying the peace and quiet. But then Omi pauses, sensing something coming. The noise. She sighs, bracing herself as the front door bursts open and the Engel family storms in, overloaded with boxes and bags.
And you're going to write an apology to the rest of your class for ruining the recital. What were you thinking, Max? The kid was twice your size.
Max trundles in wearing his reindeer costume with an ice pack over one eye, still hurt and glum from the fight, softly.
Yeah, but Ben Kuklinski is always ragging on Christmas. He even told the first graders that Santa was just a cheap marketing ploy invented to sell Pepsi.
Max is trying to hide how upset he is, but his dad notices. Coke.
You know what I mean.
But not why you care.
Someone's gotta.
Tom kneels down with a fresh ice pack and inspects Max's bruised eye and his ego, gently.
Here, let me see.
Ow, ow, ow.
It's not so bad, but come on, champ. Was dropping him into the manager really the best way to handle this?
Was under the influence. What? All we had to eat was Christmas fudge and candy canes.
Cute. Tom can't help but smile and tousle Max's hair. Max seems to cheer up, a beat of calm in the holiday chaos. Sarah unwraps a brand new framed family portrait.
Not to sound harsh, but every kid has to learn the truth someday. Beth, help me with this.
Hearing his mom say this, Max sinks ever so slightly.
Oh, I know. I just didn't want it ruined. For the little kids.
But something tells us Max is lying, both of us and himself. Tom changes the TV from A Christmas Carol to cable news, filling the house with terrorism and holiday crimes. Then he looks at Omi's cookies and taps her on the shoulder.
It's a great Mutter.
Omi smiles and nods, speaking softly in German.
Danke.
But don't work too hard. Sarah already bought cookies at the store.
Omi's smile drops, clearly insulted. Tom's cell phone rings.
It's Roger.
I thought you said you weren't working over Christmas, Tom.
I said no traveling over Christmas. I still need to take a few calls. Hey, Roger. Yeah, now it's fine. What's up?
Annoyed, Sarah grabs the new family portrait and heads for the living room as Tom starts towards his den.
Hey, wait, aren't we gonna watch Charlie Brown and wrap presents together like always?
After what you pulled today, you can do it alone and fast because your cousins will be here any minute. No. That was my kid. Yeah, it's Christmas clusterfuck over here.
Tom leaves as Max pulls off his antlers and slumps into a chair. Sympathetic Omi helps him unroll gift wrap.
Thanks, Omi.
Omi dabs his nose with frosting and again speaks in German, barely a strained whisper. It's difficult for her to speak.
Hast du es bindet?
Have you finished it? Max shakes his head, and we realize that we can't understand her. In fact, other than Tom, Max is the only other family member who's bothered learning Omi's language. Max makes sure the coast is clear and removes a letter from his pocket. The same letter we saw on his desk last night.
I don't know what to ask for this year.
Boom, boom, boom. They flinch as the sound of hammering and shouting from the next room.
Because they're family, Beth, and it's only for a few days.
Last year, I found shit in my bed, Mom. Human shit.
For the last time, it was their dog.
Omi and Max exchange a look.
Ich weiß, dass dir was entfallen wird.
You will think of something. Interior living room continuous. Boom, boom, boom. Framed family portraits bounce and clatter against the wall with each deafening hammer blow. They're why some people shouldn't be allowed to breed. Your words, Mom, not mine. Beth storms upstairs as Sarah calls after her.
I never said that. I said maybe they should have been allowed, or I'm sorry, they should have taken a test before they're allowed to breed.
Sarah finishes hanging the portrait, obsessively readjusting so it's just right. But scanning the line of annual holiday photos, she finally seems to notice something. Excited young grins become forced smiles. The tight huddle around Santa turns into a loose grouping, visual history of her family's dissolution from one Christmas to the next. Sarah's tense veneer softens, suddenly realizing how their once cherished tradition has become an obligation. Interior dining room continuous.
Omi, do you really still believe in Santa?
Omi frowns, as if remembering something she'd rather forget. She tries finding the right words. Then,
Natürlich. Aber ich glaube, dass der Heilige Nikolaus, das ist, was du aus ihm machst.
St. Nicholas is what you make him. What do you mean?
An ihn zu glauben bedeutet, an den wahren Geist des Feiertags zu glauben, der Geist des Gebens, des Opfers.
that to believe in him is to believe in the true spirit of the holiday, the spirit of giving, of sacrifice. She stares off, lost in memory. Max watches her with growing concern until...
Ich glaube auch in den Nachtigs vor dem Abendessen.
I also believe in desserts before dinner. Omi hands him a cookie. Max takes it with an uneasy smile, wondering what secrets his grandmother may be hiding. Exterior Engel House night establishing. A suburban McMansion dotted with festive lights, but as the wind shrieks, we start creeping towards the house, strangely drifting through the air like some eerie point of view.
Well, at least your family cares enough to fight.
This disembodied point of view hovers outside a frosty attic window, watching Beth Skype with her boyfriend, Derek, 17 years old. Interior Beth's attic bedroom night continuous. Yeah, my cousins are crawling out of the shallow end of the gene pool, so everyone's a little on edge.
Your mom popping Xanax again?
Like candy. Tonight we're making a Japanese snowflake tree or some shit. Takes a lot of work to make our family look more awesome than it actually is, you know?
Yeah, I like snowflakes, but I like my plain better.
Derek holds up Gremlins and Die Hard DVDs with a bag of weed, then playfully flicks his tongue at her. Very enticing. But think I'm stuck here.
Come on, people escape from Alcatraz, and I'm only 4 blocks away.
Beth's face dropped, hearing something bad.
What? What's wrong?
Her room rattles as a deep rumbling builds outside. Beth cringes, quietly praying for it to go away. Everything. Interior Tom's den, same time. The rumbling shakes Tom's boring work trophies and photos. Best Ceramic Tile Salesman 2013. Incentive Marketing Leadership Conference 2011. Paragram Shifters Jamboree 2009. Wincing at the noise, Tom sneaks some whiskey into his coffee, closes his eyes, and silently mouths, "Fuck." Interior dining room, same time. Max finishes letter with ding dong, ding dong, ding dong. Not stop, annoying doorbell ringing fills the house. Interior living room, same time. Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong. Sarah pauses from her decorating, breathes deep, trying to keep it together.
It's Christmas. It's Christmas. It's Christmas. It's Christmas.
Moments later, a door swings open and Sarah is now all smiles.
Merry Christmas.
On the front doorstep, Linda, 30s, 4 kids and 3 part-time jobs has taken the shine off Sarah's younger sister. They hug awkwardly.
Merry Christmas, sis.
I'm so glad you made it.
Oh my gosh, you have no idea. Accidents all over the freeways and nothing but traffic and crazy talk radio for 6 hours. Oh, and here, we brought you a little taste of home.
She hands Sarah a casserole dish filled with something brown and moist. Sarah's stiff grin only gets stiffer.
Wow, thanks. Just wow.
Move on in, Lindo. No need to keep the traffic jam going now.
Red-faced, broad-chested with a Santa hat over his hunting cap, Howard, 40s, pushes his way inside with luggage and gifts crudely wrapped with magazines and newspaper.
Howard, let me help you with that.
But Tom misjudges the weight and is pulled to the ground when snarling jaws snap at his hand, revealing
Rosie, down girl.
a fat bulldog named Rosie, who helps the in-laws track mud and snow all over Sarah's shimmering floors.
Ha. Gave your butler the night off, huh, Tommy?
Tom smiles uneasily as 3 kids pile through the door. 2 husky boys step in first, Jordan, 12, and Stevie, 11. Both sports varsity jackets, glum faces, and shaved heads.
Merry Christmas, girls. Don't you look cute in your matching jackets?
Holy shit, Jordan and Stevie are actually girls.
They're a little cranky because the Steelers lost. Jordan, Stevie, why don't you tell Aunt Sarah about your Presidential Fitness Awards?
Max greets pudgy Howie Jr. 8, a mute mouth breather with enough body fat to only need a football jersey for warmth.
Hey, Howie. So, what'd you ask Santa for this year?
Howie just stares blankly as Beth whispers to Max, "Dialysis." Uncle Howard pulls Max into a pitiful headlock and noogie.
Ah, maxi pad, still getting straight A's in detention?
Max twists loose, annoyed.
Christ on a stick, and it will kill y'all to shovel the walk. I could have broken a hip out there.
Sarah glares at Linda as if she's invited a Nazi to Passover.
Guys, please don't be mad.
A dry gulch, as if there ever was one. Aunt Dorothy, 60, trudges inside looking for something else to bitch about. Sarah forces another smile and a stiff hug.
Aunt Dorothy, what a surprise.
Yeah, well, your sisters don't Mother Teresa, but at least she swings by once in a while to make sure I'm not dead. Now, where's your nog? Want to get married?
In the kitchen. Help yourself.
Aunt Dorothy scowls at Sarah's decorations as she leaves.
Lord Almighty, looks like Martha Stewart threw up in here.
Tom is about to close the door, but stops, looks at Linda.
Wait, wasn't there another?
Linda smacks her forehead, remembering.
Oh, Chrissy! Damn it, Jordan! I told you to bring her inside. Damn it, Jordan!
Hey, not my kid.
Jordan elbows Stevie and points to the letter poking out of Max's back pocket, clearly addressed to the North Pole. Ideas brewing, the girls mischievously whisper to each other. Howard slaps Tom hard in the back, lurching him forward.
Come on, Tommy, help me grab the baby and the rest of the girl crap out of the truck.
Coast clear, Sarah pulls Linda inside.
Holiday roast is a surprise. Cancer is a surprise. It's a goddamn nightmare. What are you thinking?
Oh, come on. She's not that bad. Besides, she tricked me. I thought we were just dropping off gifts and she came to the door with a suitcase. What was I supposed to do? Leave her alone on Christmas?
No, but you could at least warn me when not one of your mistakes is going to become my problem.
You think everything I do is a mistake.
Howard walks back inside carrying baby Chrissy, his arms outstretched like he's holding a bomb.
I think this warhead's armed.
Linda takes Chrissy as Sarah raises a brow at her sister. Point proven. Another defeat in a lifetime of lost arguments.
Ugh, guess I better go change her.
Tom and Sarah exchange a look. A brief private moment. He goes cross-eyed and Sarah shakes her head smiling until... How's that nog, Dorothy?
So what's for dinner?
Max sits on the steps, baffled by his bizarre family as we cut to exterior Engel House night. Again, a strange, disembodied point of view seems to be watching the family, this time drifting outside the dining room windows. It watches them chat around an exquisitely decorated table. Music, candles, and gourmet food provided a stark contrast to the giant bottle of Mountain Dew Howard Jr. is chugging. Interior dining room night.
Ha, that's my boy.
The long, hot burp that follows blows away Max and Beth's appetites. Beth tries to leave but catches a sharp glare from Sarah. Tom escapes into his phone when Howard elbows him.
I'm getting Howie Jr. into game shape. By the time he hits high school, he'll be the biggest lineman in the state. You ever even been on the field, Tommy?
Tom lamely attempts to man up as if he were a Navy SEAL.
Nah. Spent most of my younger years in training.
Oh, yeah, Army, Marines?
Eagle Scouts.
Oh, is that where you weave baskets, help little old ladies across the street?
Jordan and Stevie snicker.
Actually, there's a lot of survival train.
I'll tell you what, the only survival training I need is my old smoke pole and a box of 30-06 in the truck. The shepherd's got to protect his flock.
Howard, I thought we agreed no gun talk at the dinner table.
Baby Chrissy flings food into the floor where Rosie slurps it up. Sarah cringes. Seeing this is like nails on a chalkboard.
Wow, looks like Chrissy is really enjoying my Gravlax.
Careful, kids. Your Aunt Sarah likes everything clean and perfect. That's why she cooks food you can't pronounce.
Well, I thought you guys might want a break from mac and cheese with hot dogs.
Linda shoots daggers at her sister, insulted.
Well, you're wrong. Who doesn't at least make ham on Christmas? What are you now, a Jew?
Barely containing her rage, Sarah escapes to the kitchen.
Maybe it's time for dessert, hmm?
She gets up while Dorothy enviously eyes Omi's food, a special meal of mashed potatoes, turkey, and green beans. Meanwhile, the kids have their own tense conversation.
Hey, Maxi Pad, you want to hear what happened to Santa?
Max sighs, knowing what's coming. He looks to Beth for support, but she glances away, leaving him to die.
Oh, Jordan, what happened to Santa?
I'm Stevie. She's Jordan.
The girls exchange a smile, thinking and speaking as one.
I heard it on the news. His sleigh crashed in the Rockies, shattered both his legs. Frostbite took care of his pain.
But not his hunger. So to survive, he had to slaughter and eat his reindeer.
Including Rudolph.
She dangles a slice of meat from her mouth.
8 tiny reindeer. Get it?
Max tenses. Beth grabs onto his arm. Don't start anything. Interior kitchen, same time. Sarah crisps creme brulee with a small torch, muttering.
Bernie and cheese and hot dogs. Jesus.
From out of nowhere.
So, why the heck does Omni get real food while the rest of us have to suffer through your duck plate?
Startled, Sarah flinches and burns her fingers on the torch. She turns to Aunt Dorothy, pouring herself more eggnog.
You know how all this fancy stuff wrecks my pipes?
Pushed to her limit, Sarah finally unleashes.
Well, how about next year we'll go to your place for Christmas? And after you've spent weeks decorating and cooking and cleaning, I'll just waddle in and start bitching and moaning about everything you've worked so hard on. No, please, Aunt Dorothy, for your sake, stay the fuck out of my kitchen.
Aunt Dorothy leaves. A slap to the face would have stung less. Interior dining room, same time. Max is on the verge of exploding from his cousin's jabs.
We know you still believe in the big fat creeper.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Grinning wide, Stevie pulls out Max's letter. Max checks his pockets, realizing that they've swiped it.
You sure about that?
Mortified, Max tries to get up, but Beth holds him back. Max, stop! He struggles as Stevie stands and clears her throat, reading,
Dear Santa, I know I haven't been great this year, and I'm sorry for that. But I was really hoping you could help out me and my family this Christmas. We need you. Aw, Maxi Pad, that's so sweet.
Knock it off!
Max breaks loose from Beth and tries to tackle Stevie, but Jordan holds him back. Tom senses where this is heading.
Guys, come on. Hey, Howard.
They're just playing, Tommy.
Knowing her time is short, Stevie scans the letter.
Blah, 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 bullshit. Aha, here we go. Maxi's wish list.
Tom is finally about to step in when...
I wish my mom and dad would fall in love again. I know they get upset a lot, but with dad away from home so much, I think they just really miss each other.
This freezes Tom in his tracks. The room falls silent except for Max wildly kicking as Jordan keeps him pinned down.
Me.
Stevie, stop. That's enough.
Oh, wait, you're in here too, Beth. I wish me and Beth could hang out like we used to. You might have noticed I don't have tons of friends. No, really?
Beth's face drops. This hits home.
Also, I wish things weren't so hard for Uncle Howard and Aunt Linda. So maybe you could lend them a hand for the rest of the year too.
Howard and Linda's faces are flush with embarrassment. Stevie's tone changes, suddenly hurt.
And that, screw you! Dad does not wish we were boys!
An awkward beat as Sarah proudly enters with dessert.
I want some creme brulee.
Max bites Jordan's hand and breaks for Stevie, who punches him, knocking him on his ass. Both girls pile on Max as he fights back with all he's got. Even Howie jumps in. Tom and Howard struggle to pull their kids apart.
Max, calm down. Howard, will you tell the girls to lay off?
Come on, Tommy. The boy's got to learn to fight his own fights. He'll get eaten alive come high school.
Omi watches as Max grabs the letter and stands up, his heart, his last shreds of childhood innocence now broken.
I just wanted Christmas to be like it used to. Forget it. I hate Christmas and I hate all of you.
He storms off.
Max. Max.
But he's gone. Sarah looks at Tom, urging him to handle it.
Lay off. Him kid gotta get prize for telling the truth.
Interior Max's room later. Max sits at his desk, staring at the letter. A knock.
I come in?
No.
Tom bears a peace offering of milk and cookies and sits.
You know they're leaving right after Christmas, so we only have to survive another 3 days.
Every year it gets worse. Why do we have to put up with their crap just because we share DNA?
Because that's what family is, Max. People you try to be friends with, even if you don't have a lot in common.
Why?
Because, well, okay, you kind of got me there. Or maybe it makes us work a little harder to find what we do have in common. You know, put everything aside and think of other people for a change. Friends, family, even the assholes you normally can't stand.
Like Howard?
I didn't want to name names.
Beat. Max thinks about this.
Dad, can you really believe all that?
I want to, Max.
Tom tinkers with an advent calendar on the wall.
But hey, I bet it's not too late to drop that letter in the mailbox.
Tom leaves and Max stares at the letter, contemplative. Interior dining room, same time, the family cleans up broken dishes and food, the air thick with awkward silence and decades of growing tension. Interior Max's room, same time, Max starts to sign the letter, a glimmer of faith still visible in his young eyes, but then rip. Heartbroken, he tears the letter in half, then tears it again and again until he can't tear it anymore. Max then opens a window and throws the pieces outside. Exterior Engel House continuous, but instead of falling, the shreds of letter are pulled up into the night air by a sudden gust of wind. Max watches as they swirl higher and higher into the moonlit sky. Satisfied, he closes the window when he notices snow. Just as some flurries at first, then a trickle that gives way to full snowfall. Puzzled by the timing of it, Max closes the blinds while in the sky above we see thick rolling clouds, massive, unearthly, ominous, and somehow forming directly above the Engel house, spreading over the surrounding homes like a biblical storm. Heavy snow and eerie winds start to fill empty streets, knocking over decorations, bending tree branches. Frost spreads across windows like skeletal fingers. Christmas lights swell to bright glow, then pop off. And from above, we watch as the Engel house and the entire neighborhood is engulfed by darkness. Fade in, an advent calendar. Max's hand opened the next compartment, December 23rd, revealing a drawing of a snowman. Dissolved to a window, opaque from frost, then a blurry hand wipes it away to reveal Max, gawking at it. A blizzard, cars, houses all covered in 4 feet of snow, icicles covering trees and power lines, shrieking wind and sleet fill the air as if Arctic storm swallowed suburbia. Max is stunned, and it might be the next morning, but you wouldn't know it because the sun can barely penetrate the thick clouds and fog, drenching everything in dark, hazy gray. Suddenly, a snowplow rumbles through the fog and reveals a grinning snowman in the middle of the yard. Only it's facing the house, almost as if it's watching them. Odd. Into your kitchen, morning overcast, slightly unnerved, Max turns from the window to find his family in a growing state of panic.
Don't find it the least bit strange?
Sarah wears pajama under a winter coat, uselessly adjusting a thermostat. We can hear the shrieks and hollering of their cousins from the living room.
I mean, they can see dust specks on Mars, but no one noticed a giant blizzard hurtling towards us.
Well, then, when the power comes back, you can send an angry email to the National Weather Service. In the meantime, let's try and stay calm.
Side.
Sarah ignores Max, too busy checking a faucet for hot water.
I'm calm. I'd just be calmer if I knew how we're going to survive Christmas with 12 people stuck in a house with no heat, hot water, or electricity.
Or food.
If you grab a stool and a spatula, I'm sure you can scrape up some pate off the ceiling. Is there pate on the ceiling?
He grabs a can from the fridge.
Here it is.
Owen is down too.
Mom!
What, Max?
There's a snowman in our yard.
Tom and Sarah squint outside to see the snowman in question, but clearly aren't concerned.
That's great, Max.
Built it.
This is the least of their worries.
I can barely see across the street, but it doesn't look like it's just us. Could walk over and check with the Turners.
The Turners are in Hawaii, the Lamberts are in Florida, and the Cartwrights stopped talking to us after Max's noodle incident.
After us, what?
Sarah spots Omi fiddling around in the fireplace.
Max, would you please get Omi out of here before she burns the whole house down?
Max rolls his eyes and does as he's told. Suddenly, knock, knock. Someone's at the door. Sarah sighs. Now what?
I'll get it.
In the foyer, Linda opens the door to a dark hooded figure. She gasps, but the figure pulls back his hood to reveal a FedEx guy.
Merry Christmas. Signature.
Linda looks down to see a pile of boxes.
Howard, stuff to carry. Some weather, huh?
Yeah, it's a ghost town out there. Roads are a nightmare. Half the state buried with even more on the way.
As she sighs, Linda also notices a large bag overflowing with more gifts, all wrapped in beautiful ornate parchment.
Those two?
Not mine. Must be from the boys in brown. UPS. Merry Christmas.
Howard appears behind her.
So,
Look, they got even more stuff.
how come rich people get all the free shit?
In the kitchen, Beth enters, cell phone glued to her hand. I've texted Derek like 9 times. He still hasn't written back. That is not normal.
It's the blizzard, honey. Nothing's working right now.
Then can I walk over and check on him? It's only a few blocks away.
You don't think that's a good idea?
I could see if anyone else has power on the way. Aunt Dorothy looks up from a tabloid.
You know, your kids don't have a damn bit of patience. When I was your age, I didn't hear from my boyfriend for 2 years while he was off fighting Charlie.
Sarah shakes her head in disbelief, turns to Beth.
1 hour. And when you're back, I want you to spend some girl time with Jordan and Stevie. Got it?
We follow Beth's mortified gaze to Jordan viciously wrestling Stevie in the living room. Howie Jr. cheers them on as Howard tosses the bag of ornate gifts under the tree.
You call that a reversal? Come on, Jordy, plant your feet.
Right.
You know what I mean. Just be careful, okay?
Okay, back later.
1 hour.
And Beth is already out the door. Sarah turns to see Omi still tinkering with the fireplace while Max watches, not doing anything to stop her.
Max, I told you to get Omi out of...
Omi rises and pours hot water from an old kettle as if she's in old kettle she had in the fire into the tray of mugs. She mutters as Max translates.
This chocolate macht alles besser.
Hot chocolate makes everything better.
Embarrassed, Sarah stands down as Omi offers the hot chocolate to the room, melting away everyone's tension. For now.
About time someone did something right around here.
At the window, Max watches Beth disappear into the fog. He then looks at the mysterious snowman again, unease creeping over him. Snow whips past the window, becoming a vast expanse of white. Then a tiny speck appears. Beth, up to her knees in snow, freezing. Exterior neighborhood streets day, but dark. The fog is so thick that Beth can barely see more than a few feet in front of her. She stops to look around, disoriented. The borders between the yards and streets have been erased. The whole neighborhood is oddly desolate, silent, dark. Ribbons, wreaths, and other decorations are strewn everywhere. And other than the wind, it's quiet enough to hear the creaking and crackling of the ice-covered trees. Beth looks for sign of life in the passing houses. Nothing. Not even smoke from chimneys. Weird. Then she hears something else. A quiet scraping, like nails on a chalkboard. Screech. Unnerving. Beth looks around, trying to find the source. No luck. So she keeps walking, now a little more nervous. Screech. There it is again. What the hell? Beth stops and peers into the fog, trying to see when a deep roar makes Beth jump out of her boots. She turns, the fog clears enough to reveal a neighbor trying to start his truck. Then he goes back to scraping ice with his windshield. Screech, screech, screech. Beth sighs, relieved, barely audible over the wind. Hey, do you guys have power? His head is wrapped in a hood and scarf, and the neighbor silently shrugs and shakes his head no. Beth waves, then marches onward while the neighbor's silhouette begins fading into the fog behind her. But as soon as Beth takes a few more steps, the wind howls louder and we hear a muffled yelp. She turns around again, and the neighbor is gone. Only his red scarf remains. Hello? As if he's vanished into thin air, confused, but assuming the neighbor went inside, Beth turns and keeps going. Exterior around the corner moments later, Beth walks along a freshly plowed stretch of road when she hears a faint sound underneath the wind. Sleigh bells. She stops to listen. They're getting closer, as if reindeer might come tromping by any moment. Even weirder, it sounds as if they're coming from above. But as quickly as they came, the bells are overtaken by the wind again. Beth shrugs it off, suddenly distracted by blinking Christmas lights on a distant house, an oasis of color among the gray. Apparently, someone has electricity. Thank God. Hopefully, she quickens her pace, but then the next house, its lights flicker on top, tiny colored beacons pushing through the snow. Even better. And then a third house, more lights, even closer. Beth stops, sensing something isn't right when a loud thump startles her, followed by faint breathing, deep and raspy. Beth squints through the haze. The house is about 30 feet away, and on its rooftop, she spots a stranger in a long hooded coat, crouched near the chimney. But silhouetted by fog, it's impossible to see him clearly. Hello? The stranger doesn't reply, doesn't move. He simply watches from the rooftop, his hot breath swirling in the frigid air. Maybe someone checking his chimney? But as Beth gets closer, something about this man feels very, very off. She stops to get a better look. As the stranger stands, frighteningly tall, easily 7 feet tall, a snewy yet hulking mass drenched by fog and shadow, we can barely make out his dark crimson robes, like tattered fur pelts dyed with blood. Flickering Christmas lights illuminate a little more of him, just enough to make out an ashen beard, tangled and matted, encrusted with dirt and ice. And slung over his shoulder, a huge leather sack, a weathered patchwork of animal hides blotched by dark stains and filled with God knows what. Like an obscene vision of St. Nicholas, the stranger cocks his head, gazing at Beth, hissing. Then, just as we're wondering how someone that big got on the roof, he silently leaps down straight into the air, briefly disappearing into the snowstorm before, whomp! He lands on the house right behind Beth. More lights flicker. Somehow he's causing this. Oh my God. Beth smartly runs as the stranger leaps again, lands on another house, chasing her from the rooftops. A paternal predator playing cat and mouse. Somebody help me, please. She glances back and sees the stranger perched on a chimney, a leering gargoyle watching her, enjoying the chase. Beth screams and falls, digging herself out over and over, face wet with icy tears. She looks back at the stranger, scanning the rooftops, but he's gone. Vanished. But then Beth sees something ahead in the fog. The FedEx truck. Oh God, help me! She reaches the truck, tries the door, frozen shut, climbs up, peers through the door glass to see the FedEx guy inside, frozen solid mid-scream. Beth shrieks but quickly covers her mouth, nervously glancing around. No sign of the stranger in the fog. Thinking fast, she crawls under the truck. We stay under the truck as Beth lays perfectly still and tries not to breathe. Trembles, listening, just the wind. Then, whomp! The stranger lands outside the truck, starts circling, sniffing her out, taunting her with hissing breaths. Beth whimpers, watching his feet crunch the snow. No, they aren't feet, they're hooves, steam rising with each step. Beth closes her eyes, crying, praying, and then the stranger leaves. His hoofs abruptly lift straight off the ground with a gust of wind, as if he just flew away. Beth listens, unsure. Is he gone or trying to lure her out? She quietly looks around and freezes and sees it. A wooden jack-in-the-box placed in the snow a few feet away, faded like an antique. Its tiny crank starts rotating. The music plays an off-key, silent night, and just as it reaches all a bright, ka-chunk, the lid snaps open. Beth isn't stupid. She slowly starts crawling backwards, inching away from this horrid little device. But then, something inside the box stirs. We barely see the top of what might be a small head swaying back and forth like a cobra rising from a basket. But before we fully see this creature, we're back on Beth's face, terror filling her eyes as she takes in this unseen and unspeakable horror. And then, from above, looking down from the truck, Beth's screams fill the air, long and loud, only to be drowned out by shrieking wind as we smash to interior Max's room night. Max stares out the window when he suddenly spots two more snowmen in their yard, both facing the house like the first one, but these guys look a lot less friendly, and they definitely weren't there a moment ago. Cut to Tom's cell phone, battery dying, no service.
Anything?
Interior dining room night, Sarah enters, hands Tom a sandwich. He's sitting by the window. It's getting darker outside, colder inside. We're starting to see their breaths.
It's the strangest thing. No cars, no people, not even a salt truck. Don't suppose you got me a backup generator, did you?
Under the tree next to your ties and underwear.
Sarah sits wrapped in a blanket around and wraps a blanket around both of them.
Hey, what time is it? Beth should probably be home by now, shouldn't she?
She's fine. She's at Derek's.
All the more reason to worry.
And relax, just for once, okay? How's everyone else doing?
Frankie, bored, sick of the cold, and each other.
'Tis the season.
Sarah smiles, leans her head on his shoulder. Tom seems surprised, as if they haven't been this close in a while. He gives into it, gently kisses her on the head.
I miss us.
Me too.
Beat. And then the wind roars, rattling the house. Frozen trees scrape the windows like phantoms.
How long can we keep this up?
Not long. Not at this rate, anyway.
More wind, even harsher, and then distant sirens. Tom sees Sarah as worried. He is too, but hides it better.
At least we know there's someone else out there.
Mom? Dad?
Max lingers in the doorway, concerned.
It's almost dark out. Beth isn't back yet.
Tom and Sarah exchange a look, both of them thinking about Beth and the distant sirens they just heard. Entering living room moments later, the crackling fire. Omi adds some logs, then, oddly, sneaks a glance up the chimney as if anxiously looking for something. The rest of the family is huddled around under coats and blankets, junk food everywhere, Rosie the bulldog snoring on her back. Howard awkwardly feeds baby Chrissy a bottle while Howie munches on fruitcake. Dorothy shivers on the couch, nursing a flask of a good buzz.
Tell you what, if I was one of those bums freezing in the streets right now, I'd just end it.
Linda wraps a blanket around Stevie and Jordan, who are busy killing zombies on an iPad.
Crazy, Aunt Dorothy.
What, even on a nice day, you wonder why they bother?
Tom, Sarah, and Max enter, clearly worried.
Hey, Howard, think your Hummer can get through this mess?
Lucinda? Hell, I could point her due east, hit the gas, and be storming the beaches of Normandy by sunrise. What's up?
Beth, she went to her boyfriend's earlier, but she should be back by now.
So let's out of your sight for 1 second and boom, shotgun wedding.
Aunt Dorothy, please.
You ought to know.
Linda shrinks, stung by the truth. Max then notices Omi becoming agitated, oddly so.
It's probably nothing, but I thought we'd pick her up and do a quick swing around town and see what's going on out there.
Little recon mission, huh? I thought you'd never ask.
But they turn to leave. Omi grabs Tom's arm.
Ein Aufenthalt, nicht gern.
What? Why?
The hell's she all riled up about?
Warten bis der Sturm vorüber ist.
It says not to go. It's too dangerous, and I think we should wait until the storm is over.
Tom and Sarah exchange a concerned look as if this isn't the first time they've seen Omi act irrational.
Tom.
I got it. Hey, Mutter. We have to pick up Beth, but Max and Sarah will take care of you while I'm gone. All right?
Omi shakes her head, tries to reply, but...
Mutter, listen. Everything's going to be okay. I promise.
But Omi doesn't seem so sure, nervously biting her lip while Tom and Howard head for the door. Seeing how agitated she is, Max gently holds his grandmother's hand. Exterior Inglehouse night, Sarah and Linda watch from the doorway, hiding their unease as the Hummer roars to life and rumbles into the icy streets. Dissolved to exterior bird's eye high above the neighborhood night, the Hummer is a tiny dot slowly navigating a dark, hazy maze.
Global warming my ass must be at least -20.
Interior Hummer night. Foot. The windshield wipers fight a losing battle with sleet and fog. Tom rides shotgun while searching for a radio channel, but only finds static.
Doesn't make any sense.
Try AM.
Tried everything.
Guess the storm knocked out all the stations, too.
Yeah, I guess so.
Then Tom finds something. The familiar long beep of the emergency broadcast signal fighting through hissing static.
National has been warned the entire central area, including Franklin County, Della, and Chardon Falls, and Warren Val, temper negative degrees, urged avoid traps, seek and shelters.
Neither man wants to admit how bad this sounds.
What I wouldn't give her some Bing Crosby right about now.
Tom quietly agrees when he notices something outside.
Wait, slow down. What is that?
They see a wide path freshly cut through the streets.
Like a plow came through.
Exterior neighborhood streets night, the Hummer turns, followed by the plow trail. Misty headlights reveal cars buried under huge sweeping snowdrifts. The Hummer continues along the carved path. It's almost like a frozen canyon with snow piled high on either side. Then the Hummer's beams cut through the eerie mist to reveal The snowplow rammed into a tree. Interior Hummer, same time.
Jesus H.
Tom and Howard climb out. Exterior street continuous. They cautiously approach the crashed plow. Flashlights scan the driver's door, hanging open. The plow is empty. Tom finds a shattered windshield while Howard notices a trail of frantic footprints scrambling away from the crash.
Must have lost control somehow. Maybe smacked his head on the windshield. Stumbled that way.
Tom checks inside, notices a photo of a man and his family clipped to the visor. Wrapped gifts in the passenger seat, all covered in shattered glass.
I don't think it was his head that did that, Howard. Look.
Howard now notices the gaping hole was punched inward. On edge, Tom checks the phone again. No signal. Battery, 5%.
We got to find Beth.
Nose too high, Tom. Lucinda's a tough broad, but she ain't gonna cut through the rest of this mess.
Well, Derek's place is only a few blocks from here. Same way as those tracks.
Howard is already walking back to the Hummer where he opens a lockbox to reveal a shotgun and a 35-7 revolver.
You really think we need...
I ain't taking any chances. Just point and shoot, my friend.
Kind of heavy.
Yeah, it's Linda's.
As Howard slams the trunk shut, cut to exterior neighborhood streets later. Moving with Tom and Howard, flashlights follow their erratic footprints. Looks like there was a struggle. Then the white snow becomes dotted with red specks, leading to a huge puddle of icy blood-soaked snow. Tom and Howard gawk at the frozen blood. Howard looks down, sickened to realize he's standing in some of it.
Sweet Lord.
Howard is about to puke or run as Tom kneels down, inspecting some shreds of clothing, a wallet, and keys.
Tom, what kind of godforsaken neighborhood do you live in?
Tom pockets the wallet and keys and looks around all the eerie, quiet homes and notices front doors ajar, smashed windows, more erratic footprints leading from the porches into yards, but none of the tracks seem to make it past the sidewalks. Tom's mind is racing, thinking only of Beth.
Come on.
But
Tom keeps going. Howard reluctantly follows, gun raised, still glancing back at the puddle of frozen blood as we cut to pop. A match lights an old Santa candle, his chubby face already melted into a demented scowl. Interior living room night, Sarah and Linda light candles, trying to keep things cozy. Max is trying to read a comic book, but he keeps stealing glances at Santa candle, oddly uneasy. His cousins snore nearby. Looking at the Christmas tree, Linda's eyes light up.
Oh my gosh, you had Mom's angel this whole time?
I thought you knew.
No. Oh, remember how we used to fight over who got to place her?
Yeah, and you fought dirty. I think you still have scars.
Linda inspects the tree, touched to find old handmade ornaments and a faded photo of her and Sarah as kids.
Sis, you saved everything.
Yeah, I figured it's what Mom would have done, you know?
Beat as Sarah and Linda share a nostalgic moment.
Always do everything right.
Yeah, I just am really good at making it look like I do. Truth is, there isn't a day that goes by where I don't wake up with one hand on the panic button.
Oh, come on. You've got everything. Your whole house is like one big Sky Mall catalog.
Yeah, but with Tom traveling and Max always holed up in his room doing whatever it is boys do, and Beth's spending all her time with Derek, things can get a little, I don't know, quiet.
Grass is always greener, sis. Trust me, I'd kill for some of your quiet. Look at me, 3 years younger, but somehow managed to squeeze out twice as many kids. Do that math.
I know, but you guys always seem so happy. Like, you could care less what anyone thinks.
Don't you dare say you're jealous.
No, I only... It's nice to have some company, that's all.
The sisters smile, their first real conversation in years. Suddenly, the wind howls, rattling the house. Even the fire flickers. Max and his cousins perk up, alarmed, when thud! More wood lands in the hearth, piled by Omi. She stokes the flame higher, checks the heat, adds another log.
Omi, try not to use up all the firewood, okay? We need to make it last.
But Omi waves her off. Yeah. Suddenly, scratch, scratch. From above, something on the roof. Everyone hears it.
Mom?
Probably just squirrels.
In this weather?
Scratch, scratch. They listen as the scurries towards the chimney. Rosie whimpers at the ceiling when, wham! Something else hits the roof. Bigger, heavier. Scratch, scratch, scurry, scurry, scurry. All the lights are glued to the ceiling. Max notices Omi clutching the fire poker like a weapon, staring at the fireplace. Then to herself. Then, with a final massive boom that makes everyone jump out of their seats, silence. And it's gone.
See? Squirrels.
But Max can tell she doesn't seem so sure.
Right, probably playing with their nuts.
Cut to exterior Derek's house night. Howard anxiously trails Tom as they approach the front yard, passing by an icicle-draped snowman. Just like the one Max saw earlier, but even more grotesque.
I'm telling you, Tommy, these damn gangs wait for natural disasters, then swoop in like vultures and start looting. We got to get back to the house, warn the others.
And we will, but first we find Beth.
On the porch, they find the door smashed open, pummeled by something huge. Tom and Howard exchange a look, then raise their guns and enter. Interior, Derek's house foyer continuous. Flashlights reveal something in shambles, or everything in shambles. Shattered ornaments, broken candy canes, crushed gifts, as if someone shook the entire house like a snow globe.
Beth? Derek?
Howard waves at Tom using military hand signals, but Tom shrugs. He has no idea what Howard's saying. Hushed.
So I'll check upstairs.
Don't be stupid, Shaggy. We stick together.
They proceed down the hall into interior Derek's house continuous. Flashlights sweep the room. Glass crunches under their feet. The walls and floors are splattered with milk and blood. Howard takes photos of everything with his phone. Noticing the open refrigerator, Tom closes the door to find a gingerbread man pinned to the other side like by a kitchen knife. Its tiny face twisted in agony. Weird.
Whoever did this was one demented son of a bitch.
He snaps off one of the gingerbread man's legs and eats it. Oh, someone's point of view watches Howard and Tom search the room, but this point of view is oddly small enough to hide under a table. Then a sound in the living room. Something moving. Tom and Howard follow it, but as they exit, something small darts across the kitchen and into the shadows. Interior Derek's house, living room continuous. They find the room covered in snow, windows smashed, smoldering logs and ash all over the floor. Tom inspects some broken toys next to the shattered photos, including Derek and Beth's prom picture. He picks it up, flooded with emotion.
We'll find her, Tommy.
Tom nods, holding it together as they continue their search. It looks like the fireplace exploded all over the room, and in the spewed ash, Tom spots claw marks. 2 long trails scraped along the floor and into the blackened hearth.
Maybe some poor sap fell into the fire, so they dragged him out.
Yeah, we're dragged in.
Howard looks closer. Tom might be right. But wait.
What about that?
Howard points to a strange footprints in the ash.
I found a lot of game in my day, Tom. Those are goddamn hooves. Big ones, too. Maybe an elk or a goat.
Yeah, but what kind of goat walks on its hind legs?
Howard snaps more photos, then distant screams echo outside.
Beth!
Exterior Derek's house night. Tom charges into the snow, listening to the shrieks as Howard struggles to keep up.
Tom, wait.
Tom reaches the street, spins around. Beth's scream seems to echo all around him, bouncing off the darkened houses.
Beth, where are you?
Her screams echo everywhere. Tom heads into the fog while behind him, Howard is to his thighs, wading through the snow when he's stuck. His right foot won't move. Caught on something? Crunch! Something under the snow bites into Howard's leg. Howard screams, flailing, drops his shotgun as he's tossed around like a rag doll.
Help me! Help me!
We hear the sounds of some unseen creature growling under the snow like a monstrous shark. Howard then is dragged away, about to get pulled under the snow when Tom's hand lunges, grabbing Howard.
Hang on, Howard, just hang on.
Something's down there. It's got me. I think it's eating me.
Then, even in this chaos, Tom suddenly catches a glimpse of a dozen snowmen watching from yards. They're perfectly still, but they're watching and smiling. And each time Tom's eyes dart to look at one, somehow, impossibly, the snowmen seem to get closer. Tom is stunned.
Damn it, Tom.
Tom snaps out of it and tries pulling Howard free again, playing a playful game of tug of war with whatever the hell is under the snow. All we hear is his carnal grunts. Tom almost had Howard free when crunch! The thing bites down again. Hot blood spreads through the icy white.
God, it hurts. It hurts. Pull me out. Pull me out.
In a flash, Tom stands, gun raised. On Howard, ashen.
Tommy.
Pop, pop, pop. Tom fires and the fourth pop. Smash to interior living room, same time. The whole family springs to their feet, hearing the gunshots.
Suppose those were squirrels too.
Then back to external neighborhood streets, same time. Tom is fired into the snow, missing Howard by inches. Then a pained, muffled cry as the unseen creature screeches and tunnels away under the snow like a demented Bugs Bunny. Tom grabs the shotgun, helps Howard to his feet. Howard cringes in agony, sees the blood bite wound on his leg.
Hell was that thing?
I don't know, but we have to move now.
They take off, Tom sporting Howard as he limps along. Exterior on a rooftop night. Someone's point of view. Watches the men hobble through the streets below. Raspy breaths condense into swirling clouds. Exterior, another street. Moments later, they round a corner and both freeze in their tracks, gawking.
Oh, God, Lucinda.
The Hummer is in flames, and Howard is in tears, and then a long howl echoes in the darkness, inhuman and terrifying.
Why is this happening?
Christ. Come on.
They keep going. Interior foyer night. Sarah puts on a coat while Linda cradles the crying baby.
Where do you think you're going?
Find them. I don't like this.
What are you talking about? Howard and Tom know what they're doing. They're fine.
Are they?
Sarah stares at Linda, hinting at the gunshots when Sarah pauses, sees Max looking at her helplessly, softens.
Honey, I'll be right back. I promise. Okay, just lock the door and...
The door bursts open. Tom and Howard shamble in and slam it shut again, locking every deadbolt and chain. They're trembling from the cold and their skin is already frostbitten.
Max, get the first aid kit.
My God, Howard?
Oh, I gotta sit. I gotta sit.
Weird gunshots.
I'll explain, but right now we need to keep everyone calm and
Get away from the windows. Guns, swords, knives, pots, pans, round up whatever you can find.
Howard, not here.
Tom gestures to the frightened kids, wincing in pain. Howard does his best to calm down. Linda gasps at his wound.
Jesus, Mary and Joseph, what happened out there?
Howard grits his teeth, eyes Tom. See, I'm playing along.
Nothing. It's just a scratch.
It looks like something bit you.
It's a scratch. I must have stepped in a bear trap under the snow.
Beat. Linda finally catches on, reading between the lines.
Hey kids, why don't you go to the kitchen and make something to eat?
Come on. I just don't want to tell us what's really going on.
All right, all of you into the kitchen right now. Aunt Dorothy, will you keep an eye on them?
Why me? I never liked kids even when I was one.
Please.
Seeing the fear in his kid's eyes, Aunt Dorothy's heart starts to warm just a little.
All right. I'll show you guys how to make peppermint schnapps.
They follow her out, all except Max, who definitely glares.
Max, go.
Max leaves as Tom approaches Omi at the fireplace.
Mutter, will you please help them?
Beat, Omi is eerily calm. Stoic, something tells us she knows more than she's letting on. She nods, then.
Lasst das Feuer brennen.
Keep the fire hot. Tom thinks about this as Omi heads to the kitchen. Exterior angle house night, the only house with any sign of life within. Interior kitchen night, lit by candles, Stevie, Jordan, and Howie Jr. sit at the table, mesmerized as Aunt Dorothy mixes peppermint schnapps and hot chocolate, then stirs it with a candy cane.
See, a little sugar, a little spice. Makes everything nice.
She sips it, smiles, sees them begging with their eyes.
All right, just don't rat on me.
Dorothy lets the kids pass around the mug, each taking a sip. Even she can't help but enjoy this quiet moment with them. At the doorway, Max tries eavesdropping, but only hears hushed whispers. Clanging silverware, then turns his attention to Omi, sorting through knives and meat cleavers, creating a pile of makeshift weaponry on the counter. A painful cry echoes from the living room. Max turns back to eavesdrop as Dorothy and the kids follow his lead. Interior living room night. Howard writhes in pain while Tom applies antiseptic and bandages to the bite wound. Linda and Sarah are scrolling through Howard's phone, shocked by images of Derek's house.
But what? Who did all of this?
Your guess is as good as mine. Thought it might have been some kind of gang thing, but all the other crazy shit we saw just doesn't add up.
Maybe terrorists?
Yeah, sure. Maybe they traded suicide vests for rabid, tunneling pit bulls. Easy there, Tommy.
Tommy finishes dressing the wound. Sarah is pacing.
And Beth?
Nothing. I thought I heard her for a second, but
So she's still out there.
we'll find her. I promise. But first, I need to make sure you guys are safe.
How long it takes, Tom, but we have to keep looking. Maybe pair up and take turns.
Tom pulls Sarah close, hugs her.
Can't go back out there. You see this? Took less than 4 minutes. And besides being sub-zero, there's someone tearing through all these fancy-ass McMansions, picking everybody off one by one. Hell, your whole neighborhood looks like a goddamn ghost town. Far as I can tell, we might be the only ones left.
We could leave, squeeze everyone at the truck, and
Lucinda's gone too. And even if she wasn't, the streets are beyond screwed.
Tom nurses the fire, keeping it hot, just like Omi said to.
Howard, how much ammo do you have?
Couple shells still loaded. Another dozen in my pocket. Why?
Tom checks his pistol. Only a few rounds left.
I think our best bet is to stay put for now. Board up the doors and windows. If we're smart, stick together. We can ride this out.
The others aren't so sure, but it's the best plan they have.
I want to put out that fire while we're at it, Tommy. Nothing says come murder us like a big cloud of smoke.
Linda and Sarah exchange a nervous look.
They already know we're here.
What do you mean?
we heard something earlier. Maybe somebody walking around on the roof.
A nervous beat as everyone glares at the ceiling.
Told you we should have gone to my brother's.
Oh, sure, Howard. Christmas on a pig farm.
Hey, Jesus was born in a barn.
Get off. What about the kids? What do we tell them?
I don't know. The truth?
Sure. Which version of it?
A sneeze, and everyone turns to see the kids peeking from a doorway. Aunt Dorothy, too, all more frightened than ever.
Hey, how much did you guys just hear?
Enough.
The kids run to Linda's arms.
Mom, did anyone take Beth?
Are they coming for us?
Don't be silly. Beth is just with her boyfriend and we're all gonna be fine. See? You've got your whole family here. And besides, it's Christmas, right? Nothing bad's gonna happen at Christmas.
Linda wishes her words were more comforting. She hugs her kids, then looks at Sarah, trying to hold it together. Dorothy sits next to Howard and offers up some painkillers. He's surprised by the gesture, but takes it. Cheers.
Well, guess that cat's out of the bag.
Hiding her anguish, Sarah turns to gaze out at a raging storm. Tom approaches, doing the best to console her.
We'll find her, honey. I promise.
Max and Omi solemnly watch their struggling family while outside the screeching winds crescendos as we cut to ka-chunk, ka-chunk. A nail gun boards up windows with plywood. Howard and Tom work together, turning 2x4s into bracket barricades for the front door while Howie Jr. helps. In the kitchen, Max shows Stevie and Jordan how to operate some kerosene lanterns while Dorothy makes them sandwiches. The kids gawk, surprised by their gesture. In the garage, Linda and Sarah gather firewood, flashlights, binoculars, candles, axes, bats, and other equipment. A stocked liquor cabinet opens. Aunt Dorothy gazes at the bottles, beaming like a kid in a candy store. In the dining room, food, supplies, and weaponry are neatly laid out. Tom looks over everything, hoping it's enough, when Max suddenly scampers by with Tom's laptop bag. Confused, Tom follows him into the living room where Max removes a portable travel battery and plugs it into the tree, filling the room with soft white light. Touched, the family stares in awe, basking in its warmth. And all while this is happening, we see Omi keeping to herself, keeping the fire tall and hot. As we dissolve to exterior angle house night, the wind moans. Windows are dark and boarded shut. But then, inexplicably, we hear the familiar and comforting sounds of the Charlie Bound Christmas special.
And lo, the angel of the Lord came upon them, and they were so afraid.
Interior living room night.
And the angel said unto them, Fear not, for behold, I bring you tidings of great joy.
Pull out to reveal that this isn't a TV, but Linda's iPad. The girls are camped out in front of it, wrapped in blankets, while Howie munches on a fruitcake, offers it to Jordan.
Gross. How can you eat that crap?
Howie shrugs, keeps eating. Sarah enters with more pillows.
Shit. Sorry. Won't the battery die?
Gotta go sometime. Might as well enjoy it.
You're telling me.
Dorothy swishes a brandy glass, already half asleep.
Been a while since we had a slumber party.
Yeah, first one asleep gets her hand dipped in warm water.
It never actually worked, did it?
You could find out.
The women quietly laugh, but Linda sees her sister's smile fade fast, obviously still anxious.
Hey, Beth's a tough girl. Takes after her mom. I'm sure she's fine.
Sarah's smile returns, grateful.
Thanks, sis.
At the windows, Tom and Howard use binoculars, peering outside through slits between the boards. Howard looks like he wants to say something, finally musters up the courage.
Hey, Tom, I wanted to say thanks for, saving my ass back there.
Sure. No problem.
Tom is taken aback by this little bonding moment.
And sorry for thinking you were such a spineless prick all these years.
This is news to Tom. Howard reads his surprise.
And now look, I know you don't think much of me either.
No, Howard, you're...
Linda's life sentence. That's what her dad called me at the wedding. Still, that was the happiest day of my life. I promised myself I wouldn't be the loser everyone thought I'd be, but now here I am.
A loser would have walked out 10 years ago, Howard. What matters is that you're always there for them. That you come home every night to see your wife and put your kids to bed, I mean, at least you're not spending half the year in hotels and airport lounges. I'm not saying all this just because you're holding a shotgun.
Howard smiles, oddly moved.
Thanks, Tommy.
Max joins them, eating a cookie.
Oh my God. You should get some sleep, champ.
How?
Good point.
Max spots the eerie snowmen outside, now covered in sharp icicles, their grins sending chills up his spine.
Dad? Are we gonna die?
Tom and Sarah exchange a look, then calm and collected.
No.
Thud. They see Omi toss more logs onto the fire.
Omi's been acting different ever since the storm.
Yeah, but she always gets weird around Christmas.
How come?
Don't know. She never wanted to talk about it.
Max considers this when boom! The entire house shakes, flashes, the light bursts through the boards. Everyone screams, hit the deck. Chrissy now awake and crying.
What the hell was that?
Sure as shit wasn't fireworks.
Everybody stay down. Howard?
Tom and Howard carefully climb back up to the windows. Binocular point of view, a fiery glow on the horizon, plumes of smoke.
Looks like some kind of explosion.
What's out that way?
Main Street.
The kids flock out to Linda and Sarah near hysterics. The women comfort them despite their own splintered nerves.
It's all right. It was far away from us. It's okay.
But Tom spots something else on the horizon, the paint glow of streetlights and flickering electricity.
Wait. Looks like someone stole his power. Maybe the Mega Mart?
Could have been a gas line. Some poor bastard trying to turn his heat back on.
Yeah, or maybe it was them.
I don't think it was. I think I'm more worried about what I'm not hearing. No sirens, no police or fire. So where is everyone?
They listen. She's right. Dead silence.
Maybe they're the ones who got blown up.
Guys.
Linda points out to the kids, all shuddering with fear.
Hey, how about we finally get some sleep? Maybe tomorrow we can open some presents early, if you're good.
The kids relax and climb back into their sleeping bags. Howie nuzzles up against Aunt Dorothy, who reluctantly lets him. Howard and Tom watch as Linda and Sarah tuck everyone in, a moment of calm in the surreal chaos.
You know, Linda might be a right pain in the ass sometimes, but she has a way with little ones I'll never understand.
Tom looks at Sarah, more in love with her than ever.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
They're all huddled again next to a crackling fire, probably the closest this dysfunctional family has ever been.
We should stay up and keep watch. Make sure the neighborhood doesn't come crashing down.
Good idea. I'll go first.
Now you catch some winks with your family. Besides, about time I put my reserve train to good use.
You sure?
Click, clack. Howard checks his shotgun. Good to go.
Shepherd's got to protect his flock.
Howard settles next to the window, gun raised and ready, as we smash to Howard, slumped in his chair, snoring. Linda's iPad plays a quiet and haunting rendition of Silent Night as we glide past the sleeping family. Linda on the floor, surrounded by her kids like a mother hen. Omi asleep in her chair, clutching the fire poker. Aunt Dorothy on the sofa, nestled protectively with Howie. Tom, Sarah, and Max huddled together on the floor. The music lulls into a sense of serenity, at least until the iPad battery finally dies. And then silence. We can only hear the family's soft breathing and a ticking clock. But something's missing. Something crucial. The fireplace. With no one watching, as flames has been reduced to smoldering embers. Still asleep, Matt shivers and pulls his blanket tighter. We can see everyone's breath clouds, as if the room is getting even colder. And with the wind comes the sound of tiny footsteps padding across the roof. Someone has arrived. Strange whispers echo from the chimney. Impish voices arguing in some cryptic ancient tongue become stifled giggles as powdery ash trickles down the chimney. We then hear something slowly descending, getting closer and closer until a figure lowers into the cold fireplace. Suspended from a rusty chain adorned with tiny bells is a jumbo gingerbread man, the size of a doll. It comes to rest in the dying hearth while more quiet giggles echo from above. Then, with a tug of the chain's bells softly jingle. But everyone keeps sleeping. The chain twitches again, jingling louder. The gingerbread men dancing with each tug. Finally, Howie Jr. stirs, sniffs the air, groggily wakes up and spots the gingerbread man dangling in the fireplace. His eyes light up. A dream come true. He carefully gets up and tiptoes over his sleeping family as more whispers echo from the top of the chimney, shushing each other, barely able to contain their glee. Grinning as dumb and wide as the gingerbread man himself, Howie picks up the oversized cookie and takes a deep whiff, relishing in its sweet, warm smell. He raises it to his mouth, angling his head for the biggest possible bite, then chomp! Howie's eyes roll back in bliss, crumbs tumbling down his chubby cheeks. It's perfect. Howie munches away, then opens his mouth for another bite and chomp! Howie screeches in pain, gaping in horror to see that the gingerbread man has bitten into his hand. Somehow, this bizarre demented cookie has come to life. Howie tries shaking it loose, but the gingerbread man laughs maniacally as it runs circles over and around his body, tightly wrapping him up in the chain like a spider. Howie screams as the chains get taut, and everyone springs awake just as Howie is yanked up and into the fireplace.
Howie!
Howard runs but trips over Aunt Dorothy. Howie's feet are about to disappear up the chute when hands latch onto his ankle and held tight by Sarah.
Hang on, Howie.
Howie's screams are mixed with the bizarre, chittering laughing of the gingerbread man and his unseen cohort above. Sarah pulls as hard as she can when she too is violently yanked up and into the chimney. Tom lunges, grabs Sarah's legs. Howard recovers and joins the insane tug of war. Even Max rushes to help. Everyone pulling, trying to wrench Sarah and Howie free.
We got you. We got you.
The kids scream. Baby Christy wails. Rosie howls and barks.
Pull harder, goddammit!
Everyone tugs, kits, sending smoldering logs into the Christmas tree. It catches fire, dry branches and gifts quickly burning into flames.
Max, the fire extinguisher.
Max runs off as the room fills with smoke and fire and smoke. Omi pulls Linda and the girls away, coughing and hacking, while Aunt Dorothy at their furnace with a blanket. Inside the chimney, Sarah clings to Howie, barely able to see in the darkness and soot. But when she finally glances up, she's horrified to see the gingerbread man inches from her face, screeching, and Sarah screams as her sanity is shattered. Even in the living room, Tom and Howard seem to be winning. Sarah's legs are almost out of the chimney, followed by Howie's.
Buddy, we got.
But then more footsteps rush across the roof, reinforcements, followed by loud grunts, and then everyone lurches as Howie slips from their grip and vanishes up the chimney.
No!
Howie's shrieks are overtaken by whoops of sinister celebration and stampede across the roof before silence. They're gone, just as mysteriously as they arrived. Linda sobs, cradling the baby.
Howie? Oh, God, no.
Max returns and sprays the tree with the extinguisher.
Let go of me. He's alive. I gotta go after him.
Howard, stop. You can't open that door.
Beat. Howard glares at Tom, then sees Linda and the kids, his rage becoming despair. Howard looks down and realizes he's holding one of Howie's orthopedic shoes.
Dear Lord, this ain't happening. My boy.
He collapses to the floor. Smoke clears, ash settles, the tree smolders, now a charred skeleton of gnarled branches and melting ornaments. The heirloom angel shattered on the ground.
Sarah, you hurt? Honey?
She's in shock, still unable to grasp what she saw in the chimney. The whole family is pretty much a disaster.
They were laughing. Did you hear them?
My fault. I fell asleep. My boy's gone. And it's all my.
Whoosh! The fireplace roars back to life, filling the room with flickering light and shadow. Everyone turns to see Omi, silhouetted by flames. The old woman looks at them with tears in her eyes, barely a whisper.
Es ist alles unsere Schuld. Ist für uns alle kommen.
Tom, what's she saying?
Tom is just as confused, hesitantly translating.
This is all our fault. He's come for us all.
Sarah looks at Tom, once again worried that Omi is losing it.
Mutter, are you feeling okay? Have you taken your pills?
Dad, let her talk.
Please, listen.
The room drops into stunned silence. For the first time, Omi has spoken in English.
Knew it.
This is difficult for Omi, physically and emotionally.
I must tell you something, all of you.
Beat as she takes a deep breath and begins telling her story, wrestling out the words with a thick German accent.
It started with the wind on a cold winter night, much like this.
Flickering shadows on the walls become more animated, transforming into gnarled trees, then a dark forest.
The war was over, but times were still difficult for my village.
We are watching Omi's story come to life via ornate animated shadow puppets as we descend into exterior small German town 1946 night shadow puppets. Snow falls on the skeletal remains of a once quaint town. Shattered buildings shiver and creak in the cold winter wind.
It was almost Christmas, but unlike years past, this Christmas was darker, less cheerful.
We push through the fog and rubble to the town square, where we see what seems to be the silhouette of a large demon, two red glowing eyes and a long tongue twisted from an open mouth. But as we move through the mist, we see the eyes are actually the tall lights of a Red Cross truck, and the long black tongue is a line of starving people waiting their rations. We move down the line of somber faces until we find a little girl clutching a tattered Santa doll. This is young Omi.
But I still believed in Santa, in magic and miracles, and the hope that we would find joy again.
Young Omi is handed the last loaf of bread by a Red Cross worker. For a moment, it's the perfect Christmas image until Omi is violently knocked to the ground, her Santa doll and bread sent flying into the air.
But our village has given up on miracles and on each other.
Realizing the rations have run out, the crowd has turned into a mob in slow motion. An old man is knocked over. A Red Cross worker is attacked. Two starving men fight over a bag of grain while their angry wives scream at each other. The bag rips and grain flies everywhere, falling to the ground around young Omi, who looks up at the scene in shock.
They had forgotten the spirit of Christmas, the sacrifice of giving.
The crowd clears and Omi picks herself up. There's no food left, but she manages to find her Santa doll, its face now trampled into a twisted mask, eyes glaring.
And my family was no different.
Off this grotesque version of old Saint Nick, we dissolve to Omi's father's screaming face. We then pull back to reveal interior cottage night, shadow puppets. Omi's father, mother, and two older sisters yelling at her for coming home empty-handed. Omi offers up all that she has in consolation, her Santa doll.
I tried to help them believe again, but we were no longer the loving family I remembered.
But Omi's mother snatches the doll from her hands and rips it in half, tossing the pieces to the ground.
They had given up, and eventually, so did I.
Heartbroken, Omi throws the torn doll into the fireplace.
And for the first time, I didn't wish for a miracle. I wished for them to go away.
And as the doll is swallowed by flames, we follow the smoke up the chimney and into the night sky, twisting into rumbling black clouds, choking out the stars and moon. Below, one by one, the lights of the town begin following suit until we only see black and hear the sounds of the roaring wind.
On that night, in the darkness of a howling blizzard, I got my wish.
Suddenly, we hear distant thuds on the roof, again and again, closer and closer, until they're right above us, like the heartbeat racing in the dark. Boom! Young Omi's eyes burst open as we pull back to reveal interior Omi's bedroom night's shadow puppets. Young Omi shivers in bed, listening.
I knew Santa was not coming this year.
We hold up on a close-up of Omi as we listen to the horrors happening in the rest of the house, but never see them.
Instead, it was a much darker, more ancient spirit.
Hooves clomping, rusty bells jingling, the thud of something heavy hitting the floor, the deranged giggles and the pitter-patter of tiny feet racing through the cottage.
The shadow of St. Nicholas. It was Krampus.
And then the screams.
And as he had for thousands of years, Krampus came not to reward, but to punish, not to give, but to take.
We hear the shrieks of Omi's family as they're ripped from their beds, unbearably loud. Walls crack as someone smashes into the other side, followed by chittering laughter.
He and his helpers.
Tears stream down Omi's face as she covers her ears, but the screams continue building to the deafening crescendo. Her eyes dart from the dark room when, through the crack of her door, Omi catches a brief, fleeting glimpse of tiny figures darting through the hall, snickering. They're followed by their leader, the dark silhouette of Krampus, a lanky figure clad in dark, ragged robes, huge, twisted horns, and a matted beard framing his gleaming eyes. Krampus is about to leave when he suddenly stops, sensing something. The demon turns and peers through the door crack, staring at Omi, trembling and terrified.
But Krampus didn't take me that night.
Dissolved to interior cottage living room morning, still shaking, young Omi enters the living room, gawking at.
He left me as a reminder of what happens when hope is lost.
The charred rubble of the fireplace split down the middle.
When belief is forgotten.
And in the ash, a rusty jingle bell inscribed with Gross vom Krampus.
And the Christmas spirit dies.
As young Omi picks up the bell, the light of Christmas morning washes over her as we dissolve to interior living room night, present day, the same rusty jingle bell now clutched in Omi's wrinkled hands. Exhausted by the memory, Omi collapses into a chair. Max moves to her side and consoles her while the rest of the family stares in silence, unsure of what to make of her story. The kids seem to believe it, but...
I thought I was the one losing it.
Howard.
What, you gonna believe this pile of senile horse shit? Evil Santa Claus? Jesus H. Almighty. Suppose she'll be yammering about rabbit Easter bunnies come spring.
That's enough.
Well, damn right it's enough. Whoever the hell's messing with us just took my boy and your daughter, and we're sitting here listening to some twisted bedtime story? Screw that.
Howard grabs his shotgun and limps to the door. Tom moves to stop him, but Howard cocks the gun.
Don't, Tommy. I'm starting to like you. I am, but this is my choice.
Howard starts removing the 2x4 barricades over the door.
Daddy, don't go. Stay with us, please.
This is how I figure things out.
He throws open the door. Wind pours in, but when Howard turns to leave, he freezes in his tracks, gawking.
No.
The rest of the family gathers around him, staring at dozens of snowmen covering the yard, twisted, obscene faces glaring at the family, all covered in long, sharp icicles. Howard's lips start to quiver when he spots a fat little snowman wearing Howie's varsity jacket, positioned right up in front for all of them to see.
God.
Howard is about to step outside when they notice tiny, glistening eyes watching them from the darkness. Dozens of strange silhouettes scurrying across the rooftops while a chorus of snickers and whispers fill the air.
Shut the door. Shut it.
Slam! Tom rebarricades the door.
Dad, what are we gonna do?
Tom stares at Omi, unable to shake the feeling that the old woman might be right about everything.
We keep the fire hot.
Off the petrified faces of the family and the shrieking wind, we fade out. Fade in on Max's advent calendar. The next door is opened to December 24th, revealing an eerie illustration of Santa himself. Exterior Engel home day, but dark. Now almost completely swallowed by snowdrifts, gnarly icy trees crackle like bones. It might be morning, but it's still completely dark out, as if the sun itself has died. Interior living room day, but dark. The fire crackles. No one can sleep. It's too cold and everyone is too scared. A grandfather clock quietly ticks away. Exhausted from crying, Linda leans against Sarah. Tom and Howard keep watch at the windows, but Howard is still devastated, clutching his son's tiny shoe, shivering from the cold. Aunt Dorothy wraps her scarf around the baby.
There you go, like a fat little pig in a blanket. Oink. Oink. Oink.
The baby laughs. Dorothy suddenly catches Sarah staring. Surprisingly, Sarah smiles warmly, and Aunt Dorothy returns the gesture. A silent but meaningful reconciliation. Still in shock, Stevie and Jordan look up to find Max holding a bag of candy.
From my Halloween stash.
A peace offering long overdue. The girls take some. Tom is lost in thought, staring at the Christmas stockings. At Beth's in particular. A long, quiet beat until pop! Everyone jumps and grabs whoever's closest for dear life, but it's just the firewood cracking. Tom looks at his arm. Howard is still clinging to it. Max breaks the tension for some bad news.
We're almost out of firewood.
Tom suddenly nods, then notices something. The grandfather clock has stopped ticking. Tom looks at his family on the verge of falling apart with grim determination. He heads for the kitchen. Interior kitchen, moments later, Tom rummages through the junk drawer, pulls out a street map. Sarah pads in and pours some very cold coffee, hands trembling so badly that she spills it all over the counter. She starts wiping it up when Tom stops her and takes her hand in his, gently.
When they took Howie, what did you see in there?
Sarah stares into her coffee, unable to say it out loud. Her mind still struggling to make sense of it.
You believe her, don't you? That story?
Beat. Tom doesn't answer, but his face says he might.
I'm going out there to find Beth, Tom. I have to. I don't care if I die trying. I can't sit here and...
I know. We'll grab Howard and Linda. I have an idea.
Interior attic bedroom morning. Linda sits on the attic floor, sorting through the charred Christmas gifts salvaged from the living room. She needs fresh wrapping. Others are melted in a goo. Linda fights back her despair while Chrissy gurgles nearby.
That's right, honey. There's still hope.
Linda then comes across the parchment-wrapped ornate gifts, the ones that were on the porch when the FedEx guy came. They're half burned, but she optimistically keeps them.
Linda?
Linda turns to her sister, trying to stay upbeat.
Hey, you have any super glue?
Yeah, maybe. Hey, could we talk to you and Howard for a second?
Can I wait? I really want to rewrap these for the kids.
It's important.
Interior living room, same time. Max translates as the girls fire off questions. This is the most attention Omi has gotten from her grandkids in years.
But what if you were good all year?
And you leave out milk and cookies and do everything else right?
Es ist nicht das, was sie tun, aber was sie glauben, was sie schon aufgegeben haben.
Isn't what you do, but what you believe. What you've given up. In here.
Omi looks right at Max when she says this, and Max notices.
But can't we make him go away?
Nein, es gibt keinen drinnen.
What's she saying?
I'm not sure if she...
She says we're fucked.
Omi shrugs in confirmation.
How do you...
Because I'm old enough to know when life is coming at you with its dick out.
Kids look at each other. Gross. Into your kitchen, moments later, Tom plunks keys under the counter. Howard recognizes them.
No plow?
I mean, it was beat to hell, but if it still runs, I can drive it back here. I could drive it back here, then everyone piles into the car and follows while I clear a path in front of us.
And go where?
The Megamart doubles as an emergency shelter. That might be why they still have power. If that's empty, we try the police station.
And if they're gone?
Keep driving until we see some lights. People, plowed road, somewhere safe for the kids.
And we'll come back with help. Beth and Howie.
Howard looks at Linda, uneasy, but Howard then realizes.
Well, hang on. You're not talking about going for the plow by yourself, are you?
Tom nods, eyes Howard's injured leg.
Shepard's got to protect his flock.
Interior attic bedroom, same time, push in on the pile of gifts. Suddenly, one of the ornate boxes starts moving. Something inside throbs and undulates. Other gifts follow, twitching like eggs about to hatch as we smash to binocular point of view snowmen, now filling the yard, all more monstrous than ever, all staring at the house. Interior living room, same time, Bax uses the binoculars. Behind him, Omi tends to the fire. Binocular point of view, frozen trees, the yard, and then that strange glow in the distant horizon, the same flickering lights of the Megamart Tom saw earlier. Max stares at the lights, his curiosity growing. His binocular point of view then pans across the dark houses across the streets until we see a huge figure perched on a roof. Max gasps, fumbles with the binoculars, but then when he looks outside again, the hunched figure is gone. Max blinks, wondering if he imagined it, but knows he probably didn't. At the fireplace, Stevie reaches into a stocking looking for something to eat. Nothing. She moves to the next stocking, not noticing that something deep inside is moving, twisting and turning. Stevie's hand reaches deeper, deeper, getting closer. When a hand lands on her shoulder, she whirls around in surprise and points a motorized spinning lollipop at
Stevie?
What?
I think Aunt Dorothy clogged up the shitter.
So use the one upstairs.
Jordan bites her lips, hesitant.
What? You afraid to go by yourself? Jesus, come on.
They grab flashlights and leave, not noticing as something small darts through the shadows behind them. Interior air duct, same time. Someone's point of view moves through the air duct, accompanied by pitter-patter of tiny feet. The point of view darts and weaves, following the sounds of echoing voices until it finds the adults talking in the kitchen. The point of view spies through the vent as if they're looking over a map of the town.
The plow's only 3 blocks away.
Yeah, but 3 blocks will feel like 3 miles in this mess.
What about that thing under the snow?
Well, we heard it once. We can do it again.
You guys told Max?
No, not yet.
Behind them, a knife raises towards the ceiling air vent, suspended by a long ribbon, hoisted by something unseen. Chrissy spots it and starts pointing, but by the time Linda turns around, the knife has already vanished into the vent. Interior upstairs hallway, same time. Stevie shivers, anxiously waiting for Jordan outside the bathroom. We can hear her messing around inside.
You giving birth in there or what?
Interior bathroom, same time. Eyes brimming with tears, Jordan stares at a photo of Howie eating a cheeseburger as big as his head. Suddenly, a pitter patter from the air vents. Jordan freezes, listens closer, but hears nothing. Interior upstairs hallway, same time. The bathroom door opens and Jordan steps out.
You done?
Jordan nods when they both hear a muffled voice coming from the attic. The words are unclear, but it sounds like
Beth?
the girls approach the attic staircase, listening.
Beth, you up there?
A long silence, uncomfortably long. And then, Stevie, Jordan, what are you doing? It really is Beth, as clear as day. The girls smile, happy to hear her cousin's voice, head upstairs.
Where have you been? Everyone's freaking out.
But then there's something off about Beth's voice. Unnatural. Interior attic bedroom continuous. The girls ascend into the shadowy attic. The candles Linda lit earlier are still burning, casting shadows on the wall.
Where are you?
Over here. The girls follow Beth's voice to the pile of burned gifts Linda was rewrapping. Then they notice something odd. The ornate gifts. They're open, ripped and shredded from within like something clawed and chewed its ways out. No peeking before Christmas. Startled, the girls spin around and then they scream. Interior kitchen, same time, which echoes through the house. Everyone jumps and looks up.
Jordan? Stevie?
Linda runs from the room and into interior living room continuous. Linda follows the screams, which seem to come from everywhere. Rosie the bulldog whimpers and stares up the staircase.
Oh my God, where are they? Babies!
But the screams abruptly stop. Howard, Sarah, Tom enter as Linda zeroes in on Aunt Dorothy's accusingly.
Where are they?
You were just here. I think they went to the bathroom.
And you just let them go?
Was there another option?
Jordan, Stevie!
Just the creaking house and wind. Linda starts up the stairs, but Howard grabs her, holding her back.
Let me go, Howard.
But Howard smartly senses that something is very wrong.
Listen.
They hear tiny footsteps, followed by giggles.
Jordan? Jordy? Stevie? Oh God, please answer.
Tom draws his gun.
What are you doing?
You guys stay. I'll check.
Forget it. Those are our kids, Tom.
No one's going anywhere in this house alone.
Well, someone's got to stay behind.
I'll stay.
You sure?
Howard looks at Max, Omi, Dorothy, and Chrissy, the family members who need the most protection.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Moments later, each carrying flashlights, Tom, Sarah, and Linda climb the staircase. Tom has the gun, Sarah the axe, Linda a hammer. Linda makes brief eye contact with Howard before disappearing into the shadows. Howard mouths, "I love you." Interior upstairs hallway continuous, darkness and eerie silence. Tom leads the way, gun raised. They're all shaking from fear, the cold or both.
Stay together.
A loud creak echoes from the attic stairwell, followed by more footsteps and whispers. Interior living room, same time, lit only by fire and candle. Max, Omi, Dorothy, and Howard anxiously listen to every sound from upstairs. Dorothy cradles Chrissy, trying to comfort both herself and the baby. Feeling an impalpable sense of guilt, Max turns to Omi.
Omi, I think this might all be my fault.
Omi gently pulls him closer, and then behind them, we notice something in the firelight. Something on the mantel that wasn't there a moment ago. A large nutcracker, designed to look like a toy soldier, but with an eerie, realistic teeth. It stands perfectly still, but its appearance is more than unnerving. Suddenly, a metallic clang echoes from the kitchen, followed by breaking glass. Howard spins and aims his shotgun. Rosie growls. Something sounds like someone rummaging around.
Uncle Howard?
Howard peers down the hall. More clanging. Dishes break.
Rosie, come on, girl.
But Rosie whimpers and hides behind a couch.
Useless turd.
Howard
right.
grabs a kerosene lantern, heads for the kitchen. Interior attic, same time. Tom leads the way up the stairs. It's pitch black and even colder up here. A layer of mist hangs in the air while icicles and frost creep over the walls and piles of junk.
Jordan? Stevie?
They hear a faint moan from the far end of the attic where it's darkest. And disturbingly, it's accompanied by what can only be described as moist chewing. They hesitantly follow the sounds, flashlight shaking. Interior living room, same time, Chrissy whimpers. Even the baby can feel the dread.
It's okay, I got you. We're gonna be okay.
Gripping the fire poker, Max stands guard, but he fails to notice that the nutcracker that was on the mantle a moment ago is now gone. Into your kitchen, same time, Howard creeps in, heart racing, light and shadows playing tricks on his mind. Pots and broken glass litter the floor, as if someone tore across the counter, knocking things over. Howard then inches past the kitchen island where a gingerbread house sits. And inside, something moves. Interior attic bedroom, same time. Weaving their way through the maze of junk, Tom, Sarah, and Linda follow the chewing noises to the far side of the attic. Tom readies his gun. Linda is shaking so badly that she can barely aim her flashlight. They exchange nervous glances as they slowly peer over some old furniture and boxes. Their flashlights first illuminate what looks like a small wooden box, a faded check in the box with a tiny handle, similar to the one Beth found when she was taken. The lid is already open, but instead of a toy, something else has emerged from the box. Some sort of creature. Flashlights pan across its thick serpentine abdomen like a massive fleshly intestine sprawling across the floor, only at least 8 feet long and horrifyingly bloated and distended. A scream rises in Linda's throat, but it isn't until their flashlights find the Jack-in-the-Box torso that the screaming really begins, because its upper body is that of a clown, a dirty, ragged harlequin toy that's clawed its way out of a childhood nightmare and into reality. Even worse, the clown's stubby arms are clutching Jordan's legs, shoving her head first into its dislocated jaws, trying to swallow her whole. The clown then winks its black soulless eyes as gulp. Jordan is fully devoured. Then horribly, it wipes its putrid mouth and smiles. Delicious. As Linda finally screams. Interior living room, same time. Dorothy and Max hear the screams. Interior kitchen, same time. So does Howard.
Linda!
He bolts for the door, then he's hit by something small and fast, then falls to the floor in agony. Howard looks down to see 6 nails embedded in his leg. Hearing something, he looks up to see the nail gun on the counter, and holding the gun, unbelievably, is a bizarre trio of sinister gingerbread men. No doubt cousins of the one that took Howie. The gingerbreads try and aim the nail gun while bickering and slapping each other like little assholes they are. Howard blinks, momentarily stunned to say the least.
Was a good boy this year.
The gingerbread fire again, but Howard grabs a cutting board, using it as a shield. Interior attic bedroom, same time. The clown bends over to grab his next victim, Stevie, sprawled and unconscious on the floor.
Shoot it! Tom, God, for God's sake, shoot it!
Tom fires, hitting a cluster of junk startled. The clown drops Stevie and screeches off into the shadows. Interior living room, same time. Screams fill the house.
Jesus, what are those sounds?
Max clutches the fire poker, too scared to move. Interior kitchen, same time. Dishes shatter all around Howard as he crawls on the floor, dodging a rapid fire volley of nails. Pinned in a corner, he recovers, trying to get a bead on the gingerbreads. He can hear them moving, knocking over pots and pans, still whispering and bickering with each other. Interior attic bedroom, same time.
Oh God, baby, wake up, please, wake up.
Stevie moans, groggily but alive. Linda cradles her, then pitter patter, pitter patter, pitter patter. Something moves behind them. They spin, flashlights barely illuminating the attic. Pitter patter. In front of them, they spin again, shaking, and then a noise. A whispering from above. Everyone shines their flashlights above to see a face glaring down from the rafters, but it isn't human. It's a demented porcelain Christmas cherub, clinging to the beam, screeching like a bat, her tattered wings spread wide. They scream as the cherub lunges, notching Sarah to the ground. Linda rushes to help when something small and furry leaps from the shadows and crunch bites under her arm. And then we finally get a good look at it. We realize it's a teddy bear, a dirty patchwork toy that has somehow sprung to life. It growls and sinks its very real teeth and claws into Linda's arms, mauling her like a rabid animal. Tom tries pulling the bear away when suddenly cries out, arching backward, hands trying to reach for a kitchen knife that has been stabbed between his shoulders. But even weirder, a clanging, rusty toy robot is clinging to the handle, twisting the blade deeper into Tom's back. These grotesque holiday toys are what hatched from the mysterious ornate presents they were alive, attacking with shocking strength and speed. Meanwhile, in a corner, the clown slithers to a vent, straining to pull it open and escape with Jordan in its belly. Interior kitchen, same time, still pinned against the corner, another nail hits Howard's shoulder, another in his forearm. He screams as the gingerbread laugh, enjoying their sadistic fun. Howard finally spots the little fuckers clustered on the kitchen island right next to Sarah's creme brulee torch. Howard aims his shotgun and boom! The torch explodes and the gingerbreads are blasted off the counter. One is blown to pieces while the other two hit the floor, hilariously screeching and running around on fire. And Howard enjoys watching them burn. But the gingerbreads won't give up. Spotting Howard, the flaming hellspawn let out an angry scream and start running right at him, scampering across the floor. Howard fires again, blasting one away, but the final gingerbread lunges through the smoke, about to latch his burning body onto Howard's face, when a pair of jaws snap the gingerbread in midair. It's Rosie. The fat dog shakes and mauls the cookie to pieces. The tiny hands suddenly grab Howard, who shrieks and flails until he realizes it's just Max.
Come on.
Max drags Howard away as Rosie lingers behind, staring at the gingerbread man's head, still alive, angrily screeching. Rosie curiously watches it for a moment, then eats it. Interior attic bedroom, same time. The cherub cackles and wraps a string of Christmas lights around Sarah's throat, strangling her as it sadistically sings in Beth's voice. While Linda bashes Teddy with her flashlight, but it won't let go, its gruesome face splattered with fresh blood as Tom battles the toy robot, still trying to pull the knife from his back. They careen around the room before Tom slams his head against an exposed pipe and is knocked out cold. But even in all this chaos, Linda catches a glimpse of the clown trying to escape into a vent across the room.
No!
Fueled by mother's rage, Linda screams, breaks off a sharp icicle from an attic beam, and stabs it into the teddy bear's eye. The bear screams as Linda hurls it across the attic, disappearing behind some clutter. Her perky Christmas sweater now torn and bloodstained, Linda lunges for the axe and...
Hey!
Thwack! She cuts the robot in half with a shower of sparks.
Tom, you need to get up. I said up!
Linda yanks the knife out and he instantly wakens. She uses her scarf to cover Tom's wound.
Put pressure on it.
Her fierce eyes snap the cherub, still strangling Sarah. Enraged, Linda charges. The once passive, chubby soccer mom now wielding an axe like a battle-hardened warrior.
Well,
the cherub smartly lets go of Sarah and scampers into the shadow. Linda helps Sarah to her feet.
Sis, you okay?
Yeah, I think.
Good. Help Tom.
Linda leaves and rushes towards the air vent, where the clown has pulled the grate off and is now trying to squeeze its way inside, but its bulbous body is stuck. It shrieks, desperately trying to get away, just as Linda comes rushing at it, axe raised.
Give me back my daughter!
With one final squeeze, the clown disappears into the vent, just as whack! Linda's axe misses it by inches. The clown cackles as it escapes into the ducts. Linda tries going after it, but she can't fit. Sarah is helping Tom to his feet.
It's okay, honey. You're going to be okay.
Suddenly, the robot lunges, still alive, but Sarah grabs Tom's gun and bam, 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 blows it to pieces. Tom stares at his wife, amazed by her reflexes.
What?
Linda returns with Stevie in her arms.
Come on, it's in the vents. We have to find it before.
More screams suddenly join the fray from downstairs.
Oh my God.
Max, Howard.
They both bolt for the stairs. Interior living room continuous. Max helps Howard limp into the living room as Tom, Linda, and Sarah come rushing back. Dorothy holds the baby close.
What happened up there?
Linda sits Stevie down in a chair.
They got Jordan. It'll be all right, baby. Just breathe. That's it. Breathe.
Howard's face turns white upon hearing this.
Who?
Those things that took Howie. Whatever they are.
Tom and Sarah rush to Max.
Hey, you okay?
Yeah, fine. I'm fine.
Max wraps a blanket around Stevie, who is trembling in shock. Jordan's screams fill the house, followed by more thumping as the clown slithers its way through the vents. Enraged, Howard springs to his feet and reloads his shotgun.
This ends right here, right now.
Their eyes are glued to the ceilings and walls, trying to follow the noises, but they seem to be coming from everywhere.
I think it's panicking, trying to find its way outside.
You boarded everything.
What are we dealing with, Linda? What'd you see up there?
You don't want to know.
And I just got my ass kicked by a bunch of Christmas cookies. So trust me when I tell you I can take it.
Everyone anxiously listens to the thumping and screaming, sometimes close, sometimes distant. Max suddenly notices Rosie whimpering and scratching at a large vent near the floor. An idea sparks, and Max rushes to pull the vent up.
Max, what are you doing?
Go get him, girl.
Rosie charges into the vent, barking and growling. The family listens as the dog starts hunting the clown, sniffing, padding around the vents, and then they hear the clown shrieking in terror as it's chased, attacked, and mauled. We hear a flurry of barking and screeching as the off-screen battle becomes more vicious and intense. Chunks of walls and ceiling bulge and crack from the pursuit. Pipes burst, water sprays. Sarah's gallery of family portraits shatter on the floor. But it sounds like Rosie is winning, slowly dragging the panicked creature towards the vent.
Get him, Rosie, kill it.
But then they hear a loud whoomp, followed by silence. Everyone looks around.
Rosie?
More uncomfortable silence for far too long. And then the living room ceiling cracks and caves in. Everyone ducks, dodging falling debris as the clown's massive body hits the floor with a sick, wet thud. The beast is now even more horrifying, covered in dirt, grime, and cobwebs, and it has devoured Rosie. The dog's shape now visible in the clown's swollen belly with Jordan. The clown screeches and howls, futilely attempting to crawl away, but it's now too fat to move. Howard is frozen with terror while the rest of the family surrounds the clown, trying to keep it from escaping again.
Kill it, Howard!
But the clown viciously defends itself, hissing and clawing at them like a trapped animal. Sarah lunges with a knife, tries to cut the belly open, but the clown bites her hand. Tom pulls her back to safety. Finally snapping out of his daze, Howard raises the shotgun, aiming for the monster's head. About to pull the trigger when something small and fast flies through the air and latches onto Howard, slamming him to the ground. It's the cherub. Its tattered wings wrapped around Howard's head as it scratches and bites his face.
Get off of me, get it off!
Tom and Sarah rush to pull the little monster away. Suddenly, the clown arches back and lets loose with a terrifying primal howl, as if crying for help. It's so chaotic that no one notices that the teddy bear rises up behind Omi, standing on a shelf holding a rolling pin.
Omi!
Thwack! It hits her. She falls. Furious Aunt Dorothy grabs Howard's shotgun off the floor and boom, blows the teddy bear to pieces. Max rushes to Omi, dazed but alive. And that's when the fire extinguisher goes off, filling the room with billowing clouds of white. And when the clouds dissipate, Max sees the Nutcracker. Clutching the extinguisher, it scampers away.
Dad?
Tom and Sarah finally pull the cherub off of Howard and hurl it against the wall as boom. Aunt Dorothy nails it with the shotgun too. Feathers and porcelain fly everywhere. Everyone then turns their attention back to the clown.
Aunt Dorothy, finish it.
With pleasure.
She raises the shotgun, but the clown no longer seems afraid. A sick smile spreads across his face as if he knows something they don't. And we push in on Omi, her face filled with dread, realizing.
Elfin.
Smash, smash, smash. Multiple pairs of tiny arms start breaking through the windows, grabbing Dorothy and wrestling the gun away from her. Wind fills the room. Candles are blown out. It's difficult to see these new creatures in the darkness, but they clearly aren't toys. Bigger, meaner, and stronger. They are elfin, the dark elves. Laughing and snickering, the elves quickly tear through the doors and barricades and tumble into the living room. There are 7 of them, all similar but slightly different. Dressed in dirty pelts and furs, their leathery skin is chapped and cracked from the cold. Their faces covered in primitive masks carved into terrifying expressions, while strings of bones and bells clatter around their necks. The elves surround the clown, protecting it like a prized pet, while the nutcracker obediently scampers to their side. One of the elves even examines the remains of the cherub and teddy bear, mourning their loss. It's as if the toys were hunting dogs and the elves are the hunters. Tom grabs the axe, about to attack, but the elves press a dagger against Dorothy's throat. It's a standoff.
God damn it. Tom, I'm pushing 70 with nothing going on but booze and reruns. Do it.
But Tom can't. Suddenly, heavy, rusty chains adorned with thick hooks smash through the broken windows. Moving quickly, the elves attach the chains to the clown, then wrap them tightly around Aunt Dorothy. Howard can't take it. He pulls free from the others and lunges at the clown, grabbing onto its sick tail. Just as the chains are pulled taut, and Dorothy, the clown, and Howard are all yanked out the window and into the darkness. Linda screams as she's held back by Tom and Sarah. Only Max, Tom, Sarah, Omi, Linda, and baby Chrissy remain, hopelessly surrounded by the elves. The snarling creatures inch closer, toying with the family, jabbing at them with daggers and spears. Linda clutches Chrissy and Stevie while Tom and Sarah slash at the elves, trying to keep them at bay. Max holds on to Omi, terrified. The family braces themselves, but suddenly the elves stop in their tracks, staring upward as if hearing something, sensing something. And then the elves scatter, scrambling and leaping out of the broken windows. Beat silence as the family looks around.
Howard? Aunt Dorothy?
Sarah comforts Linda, whose mind is starting to crack. Tom moves fast, sorting through the rubble for the shotgun.
Max, the ammo.
Max scrambles, grabbing shotgun shells off the floor, scattered next to the crushed ornaments and cookies.
Where did they all go?
I'm more worried when they come back. I say we make a break for it.
For what?
The snowplow, it's our only shot.
This is a nightmare. It has to be. This can't be real. God, why is this happening to us? Why is this happening to our family?
Max turns to see Omi with a match, trying to reignite the fire. The wind blows it out, but she keeps trying.
Mutter, stop. We're leaving.
But she won't.
Mutter, you have to stop.
Tom grabs her, forcing her. They stare at each other. Tom sees the pain and fear in his mother's eyes when faint sleigh bells ring in the distance, getting closer. Everyone freezes, straining to listen as the bells get closer and closer, louder, and then boom. The house shakes as something lands on the roof, and as it does, the Christmas lights begin to eerily flicker and strobe. A record player kicks on, blasting a warped and distorted rendition of Here Comes Santa Claus. Everyone gawks, listening to boom, boom, boom. Whatever's up there clomps towards the chimney, accompanied by hoarse breathing and clanking chains.
It's him.
The temperature plunges. Frost spreads across the walls. Ornaments jingle with each thud, heralding his arrival. Everyone backs away from the fireplace as black ash trickles down the chimney, the hoarse breathing growing louder.
Come on.
Into the foyer, Tom removes the barricade, clutching the shotgun, bracing for whatever waits them outside. Tom stares at his family and doesn't know what to say except
Everyone hold on to each other.
crack. The ceiling splinters as the creature starts forcing its way down the chimney. Tom flings open the door. Wind fills the room. The family grabs each other and starts trudging outside. Exterior front porch continuous, nearly knocked over by the wind. Everyone does their best to help each other. Max and Omi are about to leave when Omi abruptly stops and just shy of the door.
Omi, what's wrong?
She tearfully stares at Max, then
Be good.
as Omi slams the door shut, locking them outside.
Omi!
Everyone stops, seeing Max pound on the door.
Mutter!
Interior living room, same time. Omi slides the barricade back in place, then calmly approaches the hearth, watching as the chimney bulges and breaks from the descending monster.
Mutter! Open the door now!
But Omi has resigned herself to this sacrifice. Exterior front porch, same time.
Mutter!
Watching Tom futilely pound on the door, Max realizes.
Dad, she wants us to go.
Tom stops, knowing Max is right.
She's trying to help.
Suddenly, they all flinch as a howl pierces the air, the terrifying roar of the snow beast, and it's getting closer. Resigned, Tom looks at his son, at Sarah and Linda. It's an agonizing choice no son or father should have to make. Choking back tears, Tom backs away from the door. They leave, carefully keeping away from the snowmen, but as the family is engulfed by the storm, one of the snowmen seems to turn its head, watching them. Interior living room, same time. Omi gawks as the black smoke pours out of the fireplace. The bricks and mantle crack as the music stops, skipping on a static loop as the record has reached its end. Suddenly, two long skeletal arms reach out from the hearth like pale spider legs covered in ash and soot. Taloned hands then clutch the lip of the hearth and pull the massive body out of the chimney. Bones crunch and snap as it twists and contorts to squeeze through. Thud. A huge hoof hits the floor, crushing a Santa Claus ornament. Thud. The other hoof follows. Omni is oddly unafraid as this ancient old world demon begins to rise, slowly unfurling itself to stand at its full height. Meet Krampus. His hulking form is draped in heavy layers of pelts and furs, all dark red as if dyed with blood. Long chains and rusty bells clank with each step. And while we see his silhouette and flickering lantern light, we never see the details of his horrid face. We only see the mane of wild hair and matted beard covered with frost and ice, framing two sunken, glistening eyes. Krampus looms over Omi, hissing with perverse glee. A long serpentine tongue emerges from his mouth as he caresses her cheek, savoring their reunion. Krampus then turns and opens his huge bag of toys, and a chorus of whispers and snickers rise within. Terror fills Omi's face as this mischievous chittering grows louder. But before she can scream, a flurry of tiny monstrous forms bursts from the bag as we smash cut to screaming wind reaches its apex. A frigid storm is a deadly combination of snow, sleet, and hail. Exterior neighborhood streets continuous. The neighborhood is unrecognizable. Houses and cars are completely buried, broken trees covered in ice. It looks more like a dark fantasy landscape than suburbia. A lone flashlight pierces the darkness as the muted sound of a crying baby barely rises over the tempest. The family wades through the waist-deep snow, trying to stay together. Tom leads, doing his best to guide them. Max looks back at their house one last time as its Christmas lights flicker and go out. His heart breaks, realizing Omi is gone. We hear nothing but the screeching storm. It's too cold for the family to even speak. They can only point and gesture. Faces frostbitten, hands turning blue. They are freezing. This is the death march. Linda stumbles, nearly dropping Chrissy, but Max and Stevie help her back up. Tom looks around, trying to get his bearing, when he spots the charred wreckage of Howard's Hummer, only 10 feet away, which means the snowplow isn't far. Tom gestures for everyone to follow when they hear the snow beast roar from the distance, getting closer. They try to move faster, fighting the wind, trying to help each other. Either they'll all survive this, or no one will. Sinister eyes watch them from the darkness, prowling in the trees, crawling across the roofs like wolves hunting their prey. Suddenly, Max spots something moving under the snow, tunneling towards them. Max tugs at Tom, frantically pointing. Tom sees it, aims the shotgun, and boom! The snow beast howls in agony, but keeps burrowing under the snow, getting closer and closer. Sarah and Linda, Stevie and Max keep running as Tom fires again and again until boom! Black blood erupts, and the monster seems to retreat and disappear. For now. The family desperately moves as fast as they can, but it's like running through quicksand. They turn a corner and spot the snowplow, only 30 feet away, their last hope. Lightning flashes, and in the burst of light, they see the snow beast coming at them again. Tom waves to the others to keep going as he lingers behind, putting himself between the creature and the family. Sarah cries, begging Tom to come, but he won't budge. All he can do is mouth, "I love you," in the harsh wind. Max watches as his parents gaze at each other in a final heartbreaking goodbye. And then Tom looks at Sarah and Max and hands the keys to Sarah and urgently mouths, "Go." And as much as it pains them, they do. Tom watches until they fade into the mist. He then scans the darkness, trying to see through the storm when he spots the snow beast circling him. Tom fires, snow explodes, and Tom keeps shooting until click, he's empty. Tom closes his eyes, bracing himself, and in a burst of wind, he's gone, pulled under the surface. At the snowplow, Stevie climbs in first. We then help pull Max up to safety. Linda's lagging, struggling to carry Chrissy. Sarah turns to help when she spots the creature tunneling at them, closing in. Linda sees it too, panics, tries to move faster, but it's impossible. The creature is 15 feet away. 10, 6. Stevie and Max helplessly watch as the monster descends on Linda and Chrissy, and in the blink of an eye, mother and daughter are pulled under.
No!
Without hesitating, Sarah dives into the snow, a long, tense beat as Stevie and Max scan the sea of white. And then Sarah resurfaces next to the plow with Chrissy in her arms, and she hands the baby and keys to Max.
Max, take it. Go.
No, Mom, you can make it. You can.
Sarah weakly smiles just as she's pulled back under. Beat. Silence as Max trembles, clutching the baby.
Mom? Mom!
But she's gone. Everyone's gone. Max and Stevie gaze at each other, realizing they're the only ones left. As we smash to moments later, Max slams the door, hands the baby to Stevie, fumbles with the keys, and tries the engine. It sputters but doesn't start. He tries again.
Come on!
Outside the window, lightning flashes, revealing dozens of snowmen, now a throng of horrid icicle-covered monsters, getting closer just as the engine finally rumbles to life. Max throws it into reverse and backs it out from the tree. Exterior street, same time. The tires spin for a beat before catching. The huge metal scraper blades lower as Max lines it up to face the snowmen.
Merry Christmas, assholes.
Max punches it and plow starts barreling through the snowmen, smashing them to pieces. Into your snowplow, same time, Max mows them down with vengeful smile when crash! Something huge lands on the roof, buckling the metal. Stevie screams and shields Chrissy, holding her tight as Krampus claws tear through the roof like tissue paper. Cold wind rushes in while the kids stare in horror. Bird's eye Krampus point of view, rising high into the air, gazing down at the kids, we hover for a beat, then swoop back down on the screaming children until we smash cut to darkness. Silence. For an uncomfortably long time. We might even expect the credits to start rolling. Until Max opens his eyes, still sitting behind the wheel. Snowflakes float down around him through the torn roof. The wind has stopped. We only hear the idling motor of the plow. Confused, Max looks up at the seat next to him. Empty. Stevie and Chrissy are gone. And then he spots it, a rusty sleigh bell, just like the one Omi found decades ago when her family was taken, when she was left behind. Max hesitantly picks up the bell and looks closer, finding the same inscription, Groß von Krampus. Trembling, he stares through the windshield where he notices something, the glowing lights of Megamart on the horizon. Max bites his lip, gears turning, wondering, hoping, then clutching the rusty bell. Max makes a decision as we cut to exterior snowy streets night. The snowplow rumbles through the desolate streets, heading towards the mysterious lights. Interior snowplow, same time. Max nervously stares out the window, getting a first-hand look at the destruction Krampus has brought upon the town. Cars overturned, houses burning, decorations littering the streets. A police cruiser sits empty, red and blue lights randomly flickering, and snowmen lurk everywhere. Trying to stay calm, Max anxiously hums a Christmas song to himself. It doesn't help. Then he sees something huge emerging from the fog ahead. The Megamart, but the store is unrecognizable, completely frozen over. It is now an ominous mountain of frost and ice. Exterior Megamart, same time. The plow comes to a stop in front of the store. Max climbs out, clutching the tire iron as his only weapon. Dread grips him as he stares up at the cave-like entrance. It resembles a demon's gaping maw, rimmed with hundreds of icicles for teeth. But this profane place is far from abandoned. Faint lights are visible deep within its icy walls, a mix of blinking Christmas lights and flickering fires. And then Max hears something in the desolate quiet. Christmas music. Eerie and haunting, it echoes from inside the store. Mustering what little courage he has left, Max grips the tire iron and enters. Interior Megamart tonight. Warbling Christmas music echoes everywhere, slowed down and distorted as if played from a warped and broken record. It is a far cry from the bustling holiday scene we saw before. The store is in ruins, ransacked, its dark aisles now covered in 10 feet of snow. Max enters cautiously, eyes darting between the dark corners and strange shadows. Giant toy soldiers greet him, all pointing the way to Santa's village. Max doesn't trust them one bit. Moving past the village's empty cottages, Max tries to head deeper into the store, but he's blocked by a wall of snow mountains and frozen junk, at least 15 to 20 feet high. So with no other way to go but up, Max begins to climb. On top of the snow mound, nervously reaching the crest, Max peeks over the edge, and a mix of terror and wonder fills his eyes as he gawks at
What the?
Interior Krampus Workshop Continuous. Like a Christmas card painted by Hieronymus Bosch. The store has been transformed into a musty factory filled with strange clanking machinery, all being run by a dozen dark elves. The machines form a bizarre Rube Goldberg device cobbled together from equipment scavenged from the store, bits of washing machines, lawn mowers, exercise gear, and appliances. The store's giant Christmas tree dominates the rooms, but it's now frozen, broken, and surrounded by piles of leather sacks. like giant treasure mounds scattered as far as the eye can see. The sacks look as if they might contain frozen bodies. Max gapes at the nightmarish sight when he slowly realizes he didn't just climb a snow mountain. He climbed one of those body piles. Hands shaking, he opens an icy bag to discover a mailman, frozen solid, and next to him a waitress. And there are hundreds more, at least one bag for every person. Gathering himself, Max then watches as the elves get to work and see exactly what this workshop creates. The elves first toss the frozen bagged victims into the clanking conveyor belt, one by one. Max watches as the belt carries the bodies through the store, sloping upward until it finally dumps the sacks into a huge vat, at least 20 feet tall and 15 feet wide, welded together from chunks of sheet metal and roofing. A raging fire burns beneath as one frozen townsperson after another plummets into the vat, disappearing under a thick layer of steam and smoke into who knows what. More elves stand at the vat's edge, cranking huge mixing blades that stir this horrid pulp together. And it gets worse. The thick tubes connecting the vat to a network of steaming pipes that splits off and feed the pulp into a network of machinery. One machine injects the pulp into a different sort of tiny limbs, heads, and torsos, which are all assembled into new, creepy toys before they're boxed up by a team of elves. Another machine mixes the batter with flour, eggs, and spices before they're rolled, pressed, and baked to become fresh, hot gingerbread men, and already smiling with maniacal glee. Then, a final machine feeds the pulp into a network of stoves and grills rigged together to create a giant chugging oven. A final conveyor belt rolls out from this oven, revealing loaves of fruitcakes. Yes, fruitcakes. The sticky loaves are then wrapped, ribboned, and stacked by a final team of elves. At least you now know what they're really made of. Suddenly, a crying baby echoes, doors burst open, and Max watches a freshly frozen victim are wheeled in on a cart, and baby Chrissy is one of them. The elves are oddly fascinated, poking and playing with her, and it's her screams they savor the most. The elves then begin encasing the other frozen victims in burlap bags: Tom, Sarah, Linda, Howard, Dorothy, Jordan, Stevie, and Howie Jr. Even Rosie the bulldog is here. Max gawks as his entire family is prepped for their doom.
God, no.
Someone's point of view creeps through the mountains of bodies coming up behind Max, scurrying low and quick until it pounces. Max shrieks, but a hand covers his mouth, gawking at Beth.
Beth?
Alive but traumatized, Beth is shaking and frostbitten. He took me. Santa, he came. He's real, Max. He's real. Oh, God. I'm so sorry we made fun of you. I mean, who knew, right? Are we in hell?
No, that wasn't Santa. We're not in hell. And yes, you guys were jerks, but we got to save them. Look.
Max points to their frozen family, who now being dumped into a conveyor belt by elves, Chrissy included. Mom? Dad?
Beth, we have to do something. Do you understand?
Beth nods, trying to shake off her shock. But what can we do? Max looks around the store and spots the sporting goods department, ideas brewing. Interior Megamart on top of the vat. Moments later, the elves are startled by a classic familiar voice.
Clarence? Help me, Clarence. I don't care what happens to me.
The lead elf points to the others to investigate. Interior Megamart, electronics department.
Please give my wife and kids. I want to live again. I want to live again.
The elves arise to find rows of TVs playing It's a Wonderful Life with Jimmy Stewart running through the streets.
Merry Christmas, movie house. Merry Christmas, Emporium.
For a moment, the elves seemed confused and even touched by the old movie when, bam! The elves turn to see Beth holding a baseball bat, and she just knocked out a support leg for the display, which tips the TVs over and crushes the elves like bugs, screeching, popping, and convulsing as they're electrocuted. Interior Megamart on top of the vat. 3 elves are still working on top of the vat when thunk! An arrow suddenly pierces the lead elf's eye, black blood spraying everywhere as he plunges into the vat. The remaining two elves whirl around trying to find the culprit. Then a volley of arrows hits them. They fall in, screaming as we whip pan to reveal Max, concealed among the frozen bodies, wielding a hunting crossbow like a tiny assassin. Interior Megamart under the conveyor belt moments later. Max crawls under the machine, working his way towards a control box that powers the complicated system of grinding gears and pistons. He pauses as more elves scurry past, rushing towards the commotion Beth just caused. Finally reaching the control box, Max tries finding a way to shut it down. He turns the knob, but only makes the conveyor belt move even faster.
Oh, come on.
Interior Megamart, various aisles. Beth darts and weaves through the aisles with the elves in pursuit. She turns a corner and slides on a patch of ice, but grabs a nearby shelf, catching herself. Looking up, she sees the shelves are packed with glass ornaments and snow globes. Crash! Beth knocks them off the shelf, shattering dozens of glass baubles and globes across the floor. The elves turn the corner and slip on the ice, tumbling through the shards of glass, howling in pain. Beth smiles to herself until she sees a larger elf racing at her, wielding sharpened blades in each hand. She frantically turns a corner and bolts down another aisle. Interior Megamart on the conveyor belt, same time. The family is beginning the final ascent to the vat. Interior Megamart near the vat, same time. Panicking, Max starts tearing at random hoses, wires, and cables, but the machine still won't shut off. Interior dressing room, same time. The elf scrapes a blade across an icy wall, hunting for Beth. Inside a dressing room, Beth cringes at the sound. The elf starts looking beneath the door. Spotting a pair of feet, he smiles and kicks open the door, revealing mannequin legs? Whack! From behind, Beth hits the elf with her bat again and again, raging as black elf blood splatters everywhere. Interior Megamart on the conveyor belt, same time. The family is approaching the vat's edge. Interior Megamart near the vat, same time. Max finally lurches for a fire axe in the wall and thwack hits the control box again and again, shrieking with rage. Sparks fly as the giant machine finally clanks to a halt. Max climbs up the conveyor belt and reaches his family, starts shaking them wildly.
Mom, Dad, wake up!
No one stirs. He hears the elves screeching in the distance, chasing after Beth. They're getting closer.
Guys, come on, wake up!
Sarah's eyes pop open. She looks around, about to scream, but Max puts a hand over her mouth. Shh. Mom's hands move, frost and ice crackling away, bleary-eyed.
Max?
Max smiles, tears brimming as everyone starts to awaken, frightened and disoriented. But an elf is quietly rising up behind Max, wielding a huge wooden mallet. Max spins around as the mallet comes down, but crack! The elf screams as it plummets off the conveyor belt, revealing Beth, clutching a baseball bat.
Help me untie them.
Beth and Max start freeing their family, cutting through the ribbon and garland wrapped around their hands and ankles. But eerie chorus of chittering whispers is building around them. Max looks to see dozens of creepy toys emerging from boxes and shelves all around the store, like spiders crawling from their nests.
Faster, Beth. Faster.
I'm trying. The toys start crawling towards the conveyor belt, joined by the bruised and battered elves Beth dispatched earlier. I almost have it. But a huge skeletal hand suddenly reaches through the smoke and grabs Beth. An arm hoists her up, revealing Krampus, looming over them. And this time we finally see him, clearly illuminated by fire and flickering lights. His wrinkled face is like a saggy mask made of leathery skin, sewn together to resemble Santa Claus, but with dark, hollow eyes that hint at something much worse lurking beneath. In fact, his whole appearance seems to be some sort of perverse disguise to conceal a much more sinister entity. With a deep hiss, Krampus gestures with his minions below. The toys and elves scramble to repair the machine. Beth kicks and screams as Krampus curiously inspects her, sniffs her, his serpentine tongue emerging from his jaws, licking his chapped lips. He then turns and dangles Beth over the vat, about to drop her in when a snowball hits his face.
Let her go!
Krampus pauses and looks down at Max, a tiny angry mouse. Max stares up defiantly, then he throws something else.
I said let her go!
The sleigh bell hits Krampus, then bounces to the ground. Krampus cocks his head, considering the demand. Surprisingly, he then places Beth back on the conveyor belt with the rest of the family all staring in shock.
Max, what are you doing?
Krampus and Max face off like gunslingers. Max is struggling to stay brave. He has nothing up his sleeve. He makes this up as he goes along. Then an idea hits him. A very difficult one. Softly.
Take me instead.
The family is stunned. Max!
No!
Crazy.
Oh, are you crazy? Max ignores them as he walks towards Krampus.
Let them go. All of them. This is my fault. Take me.
Krampus suddenly grabs Max and lifts him into the air like a puppy dangled by its nape. Then he pulls Max close. Close enough for the Max to feel the demon's hot, stinking breath. Close enough for him to see the hint of Krampus's true face under the mask of skin and a glimmer of the demon's real eyes staring back at him. As Krampus and Max gaze at each other, something unspoken seems to pass between them. Krampus's darkness and rage seem to soften. It's almost as if the demon's heart is about to grow 3 times. Onto the conveyor belt, Max's family watches, waiting. On the ground below, even the toys and elves seem oddly moved by Max's courage. But then, Krampus quietly starts to laugh. Soft and rasp, but slowly building into a deep, raucous cackle. Krampus sneers at his minions. A silent order is given, and then the minions spring into action, turning the machine back on.
No, what are you doing? Take me! I said take me!
Shocked, Max helplessly watches as Beth, Howard, Linda, and his cousins go over the edge first, screaming and clutching each other as they disappear into the vat's coiling steam. Omi, Tom, and Sarah are next. Krampus then turns and dangles Max over the vat. They stare at each other one last time, Max's eyes full of regret.
I'm sorry.
And then Krampus drops Max into the vat. And from above, we watch as Max and his family fall together in slow motion. We plummet with them, falling down and down until they're consumed by clouds of steam and smoke and completely filling the frame with pure white. As the family's screams fade, leaving only the machines chugging and grinding. Beat. We pull out from the solid white frame, revealing a window covered with frost. Hazy morning light pours through. We can still hear the machines grinding, although now it sounds more like a passing snowplow. We continue pulling out from the icy window until we find Max asleep in his bed, until he springs awake, screaming and flailing as he tumbles to the floor with a painful thud. Interior Max's room morning. Max slowly sits up and looks around. Confused, he moves to the window and looks outside. It's snowing. Only this time it's not an Arctic storm, but a picturesque white Christmas. Kids building snow forts, FedEx dropping off gifts, and a snowplow clearing the street. Stunned, Max turns his advent calendar and opens the final door to December 25th. What the hell? Suddenly, familiar voices echo downstairs. Interior living room continuous. Max races down the steps into the living room where he's greeted by the Christmas tree, once again standing tall and bright, surrounded by colorful gifts. About time you got up. We've been waiting forever. Beth breezes by and joins the rest of the family.
Yeah, kid, we were worried the sugar plum fairies got you.
The warm fire crackles. Bing Crosby fills the air. Rosie the bulldog lounges on her back, snoring.
Alive.
Tom and Sarah look at each other, slightly worried. Aunt Dorothy plops into a chair, pouring rum into her eggnog.
Barely. Haven't had a hangover like this since the Pope died.
Trying to make sense of this, Max sits down between the parents as Omi walks by with a tray of hot chocolate.
What's up, champ? You okay?
Max stares at Linda, Howard, Jordan, Stevie, Howie, and baby Chrissy. His whole family, all here.
Yeah, I just had a bad dream, I guess.
Enough with this sappy crap. Let's open our damn presents.
Okay, I've got it. Howie, Tom, and Dorothy. Howard, Jordan, Sarah, Dad, Omi, Stevie.
Ribbons and wrapping paper fly. Max braces himself, half expecting something monstrous to leap from the boxes, but nothing but a sea of toys, clothes, and gadgets. Linda hands Max one final gift.
This one's for you, Max.
But instead of opening it, Max suddenly gives his parents a warm, big hug.
Whoa, hey, what's this for?
Nothing. It's just Merry Christmas.
Oh, well, Merry Christmas, Max.
Merry Christmas, son.
Max finally opens his gift to find the rusty sleigh bell, and his smile drops. In fact, everyone's smiles fade as they gaze at the ball, dark, surreal memories suddenly resurfacing. Memories of something impossible, something horrifying, the creeping realization that the Christmas magic they all once denied is terrifyingly real. The fireplace flickers as a deep wind shakes the house, and barely audible somewhere in the air, fading sleigh bells. The family stares in total silence, all of them remembering Krampus, his minions, everything, while on the stereo, Bing Crosby sings, "You better watch out, you better not cry, you better not pout, I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town." We pull out from the puzzled, shaking family, out the window and into their front yard. Pull back even further to reveal the house is encased inside a snow globe. End.
Wunderbar. Thank you, everybody. That was absolutely wonderful. And Merry Christmas and good Krampusnacht.